Nitro is the glory. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast with your host tonight, Keenan White, aka Lefty the Great, and if you are unlucky, the Finnish village idiot, JQ. This is the RC podcast with no name, but plenty of content. So sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious bench racing.
Yes, indeed. Nitro is the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 32 of the No Name RC podcast. I'm your host, Keenan White, a.k.a. Lefty the Great, and this week's guest is Jason Ashton, 2004 Raw Fuel Off-Road Champion, former factory pilot for Mugen. Jason was back when 8 scale Nitro was like truly the glory. There was no real 10 scale going on. Jason was part of a dynamic team with Chad Bradley that they both represented Mugen, and they were like back in the early 2000s. They were like really hard to beat, at races and whatnot. Jason was super fast. He was also very, he was young. He was kind of like the I want to say young superstar or young superstar of the Mugen team of Nitro Racing at the time. I don't even think Cav and those guys were racing as much back when he started racing 8 scale. So we got Jason on. I met him at DNC this year. We talked. He did come on briefly for the podcast we had at DNC, and we had a great talk about his time in RC and what he thinks is going to happen in RC, what he's doing with his life now. Maybe he's going to make a comeback for over 40. So we shall see. It's a good chat. We did record this maybe a month ago or more, but we took some time it's taken some time to get it. We've had a few podcasts come up that took precedence over this one. So I hope you enjoy this. This is part of our Legends of RC series, and I hope you guys enjoy it, because all the old school guys remember Jason Ashton. I like talking to the old school guys because that's the genre of drivers that I came up with. So yeah, good stuff. Thank you to all of the No Name RC podcast listeners. I'm going to have Joseph on in a minute. We'll talk about it. It was a milestone this week. We'll get into that with Joseph. Thank you guys for all the support. We can't do it without you. Thank you to all the patrons that support us via Patreon. You guys got the Jason Ashton podcast early this week. We're working on more podcasts this week. You'll get another one next week as well. Well, it depends. Joseph's going to be at the Euros. Hopefully he can do it. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Assault RC for sponsoring the Assault RC Invisible Speed segment. Tekno RC for sponsoring the Grassroots Racer Spotlight. JQ Racing for sponsoring the Rant. As well as BK Servos. Go check out bkservos.com. Type in the no name and you get 10% off your order. Check them out. They got some pretty cool servos. I talked to Brett the other day. They have some coming in for your 8 scale purposes. Also, thank you to Bipolar Design, Jason Darling, over there in El Paso. You guys need to get your radios wrapped, your starter box wrapped, whatever you need, they got you covered. You want to customize it to your paint scheme, check out Bipolar Designs on Facebook. They'll get you hooked up. So, and tell them Lefty sent you, and I'm sure they'll hook you up even more. So thank you to them for coming on board and sponsoring the podcast. Shout out to Beach RC. Thank you for your continued support. You guys can't do it without Beach RC, JQ Racing USA. Brent's been very instrumental in what we do. And thank you to all the JQ racers from around the world. I saw you guys were racing all this week, and that's good to see. So before we go on any further, let me get Joseph in on her. He's probably doing something that he shouldn't be doing. Well, he can't be doing much because he's got 30 days on Facebook. So let's see. What's up, Joseph? How are you?
What's up?
How you doing?
I know it's you that keep reporting me on Facebook.
Well, you found another platform to release your endorphins now, so you're all right.
What do you mean?
You've now discovered the power of Instagram. So now you're getting your trolling, your little endorphins are pinging now because you get to argue on Instagram. I saw some of your posts today.
I don't comment on Instagram.
Yes, you do. I have proof.
No, I don't. I post on there. I don't comment.
Yeah, but you
Don't
comment.
get into arguments.
Yes, you do. I have well, you know what? After this, I have it screenshotted. I'll send it to you because I already sent it to Salty Joe, and he was laughing. So yeah.
What did I post?
I don't. I'm not gonna get into this. But this podcast is not about arguing about politics and all that dumb crap.
I haven't been arguing.
No, whatever, man. You are like you know what? It's denial, man. You are like
I
exhibiting.
posted, thank God for science.
No, I'm not even talking about that one. It's a couple of weeks ago. But anyway, hey man, we hit a milestone this week. Well, last week. I'm pretty stoked about it. We've over 50K in downloads. That's pretty cool. It's probably more. I'm not sure because I don't know how Podbean does its analytics. If it puts filters in everything, but with this podcast and also the Starting Rate podcast, we're almost at like 58,000. But I wish more
That's
people.
about 57,000 more than I thought you would get.
I'm sure you did. You never
I thought you would do 2 podcasts and that would be it.
No, we're on episode 32 now.
30 more than I thought.
Yeah, you have no ye of little faith. I must admit, I was a pain in the ass to get this started. You know, you had to force me and twist my arm to do this. I was very nervous about doing it, but now that I've done it, I love it, man, and I enjoy it. I enjoy every podcast that I do. I enjoy interacting with the people, and I thank you and the people that supported me to do this in the beginning. We have done great things.
Yeah, now we only have about 1 argument a month. It's good. It's better than 5 a day.
Yeah, well, you know, working for you is not easy. I'm still waiting for my air condition that you owe me. And by the way, everybody that heard the podcast said Joseph owes you an AC.
That's just because they want to brown nose you.
No, that's because it's the truth.
It's not. It wasn't a bet. You had nothing to lose. How can that be a bet? You have to have something to lose.
Oh, gosh. Like one thing, but you are a master of weaseling your way out of bets.
No.
You just
if it's a legit bet.
It was a legit. All right, you know what? I'm not even going to argue about it no more. I'm not even going to argue about it no more. Not at all. You have 30 days on Facebook, so I get peace and quiet, and I need an AC because it's getting warm. Well, it's not too bad. It's the morning time, and I try to do these in the morning so it's not so hot. But yeah, I'll just wait for my AC, buddy. So
I just got a delivery.
Hey, so couple of things in the news this week. We was talking about Jessica Paulson last week. What are you doing? Oh, you got a delivery?
I got a delivery.
Okay. Was it my air condition?
Nope.
Oh, no good. Can you hurry up and sign this so we can continue with our podcast, please?
Okay.
I'm telling you, man, every time we do something, you always have something to interrupt us, man. Like, honestly.
Yeah, some people have to work.
Yeah, well, we're working right now. Hey, I saw your office. It looks nice, too. You got your office all fixed up. Now you don't live in your mom's basement anymore. You got your own place.
Yeah, man. Moving up in the world.
Yeah, somebody was beating on you about that the other day. You live in your mom's basement. What did you get? Ooh. What did you get in the mail?
New parts.
Ooh.
New parts for the Euros.
Oh, sweet. For you and Max?
I got some. Yeah. Actually, these are available now. JQB 0430. Rear arm carbon fiber braces.
Oh, those have been available for a long time.
Yeah, but I never got any.
Well. There you go, guys. Live and direct.
New rear hubs and CVDs here.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm interested in. There you go, guys. Live.
We need those for the Euros.
We're actually live. Like literally, Joseph literally just got a delivery while we're supposed to be doing a podcast, and now he's gonna go through it all and open it up like an idiot. Stop and let's finish the podcast, man.
Okay.
And what else did you get?
How can I stop if you keep asking me what I got?
Anyway. Hey.
Just some small knickknacks I ordered.
Okay. Good stuff.
Shit, I forgot to order clutch springs.
There you go.
Dang.
Better hope Max has some.
Always something.
Yeah.
And I didn't get any rear universals. They must be out of stock. Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Can we continue, please?
Okay.
Okay. So we covered Hidden 50K. I saw this week, we talked about Jessica Paulson last week, and then I saw some drama in Facebook this week with they had the Swedish e-buggy nationals or something this weekend.
Yeah.
And she took out, I don't know what happened, but apparently there was I haven't talked to David about it. Have you heard anything about it?
Well, there's no video evidence. I still want to see a video, but what I heard was that basically David made a nice pass on Jessica, and then Jessica just took David out and continued driving.
Oh.
So I just have two questions now. Why was she ahead of David in the first place? And why didn't David just run away with it and win?
I mean, those are all good questions. I don't know.
It was a long enough race to where even if she did take him out, why didn't he win anyway?
I don't know.
So it almost kind of sounds like it was a close race there.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's going to be interesting.
I want to see a video.
I want to see how she's going to do at the Euros. How she's going to make on it.
She's not going to do anything.
Well, we're going to talk about the Euros in a minute. I just want to touch on a couple of things that happened this week, and I thought they were pretty cool, that were brought to my attention. They were having a race at Rain Man's this weekend, and there was this young girl there, and apparently her car broke or something like that. So Jimmy Babcock actually held up the race for her to somebody to give her a car or something like that. And I don't have all the details, but this is what we need to see more of in RC. We need to see more selfless acts.
Holding up races for one person, but not for everyone.
Will you listen and just shut up before you keep talking? Like, Jesus, man, you do not just be quiet. This is actually very nice, very cool. We need this to happen in RC more often. And you're gonna well, this young girl who's her first race ever, and she must have broken her car, and she didn't have no parts to fix it, and they were looking for somebody to give her a car, or not give her a car, but let her use a car for her first race. Like, this is rookie race and whatnot. So they held up the race. I don't know. The gentleman his daughter's name, William Payne. He actually posted this on Facebook, and his daughter, man, I could just imagine, like, her first race. It looks pretty cool. She's got a nice JBR shirt on and all this stuff. But Mr. Rob Moots, he came to her and helped her. Like, he gave her his full race car for her to race her first ever two-wheel drive race with. I think that's pretty cool. We need to see more of this in RC. Most definitely.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah, whatever, man. See, now that
my heart.
Yeah, you don't have a heart. That's your problem. You are heartless. But congratulations, well done.
What was the point?
Well, because I want to have some positive stuff in RC, and I think this is very positive. A young female racer, she broke on the first race on her first race. She couldn't compete, and another man, Mr. Moot, stepped up and gave her his car to race. I think that's great. We need to do more stuff like that in RC for our young drivers, new people getting into the hobby. So stop your noise. We're all about getting the youth into the hobby, and this is a great way. So now you feel like a dickhead for being a dickhead.
Not really.
Also, I was looking online. I've noticed this come up a few days. It's this thing called Discovery Camp, and they have RC and all this. So I wasn't really sure what it was. I think it's an actual track, but I researched it. I saw a video. It's a camp that has RC as part of its curriculum. Not just cars, but
summer camp.
Yeah, it has everything like a regular summer camp, but it has like everything like sports, all the stuff a normal camp will have, but it also has like electronics, all this type of stuff. And they have an RC track, and they have that incorporated into it. So I think that's pretty cool, like a decent RC track. So they're racing short course trucks. I actually think they have real races there. It's called discoverycamp.com, I believe. It's on Facebook. I think I'm going to talk to the gentleman or one of the people involved in it, but I think that's really cool as well. Getting RC to younger kids and getting them involved. Okay, but that's what we need, because we're getting old and we're becoming dinosaurs, and we're going to die off soon, and we need to have fresh blood in. So good stuff to Discovery Camp.
Yeah, that sounds good. The only part of RC that needs to die off is some federations.
Oh boy.
Just old people and some fresh blood in there.
Yeah, I could agree with you there. Definitely need some fresh blood in there. I wonder. Well, speaking of federate, I just wanted to have some positive stuff in there because this is some things that kind of piqued my interest this week as I was surfing the old interwebs. So, good stuff. Congratulations thank you for Mr. Moots and helping that young girl race her race. Good stuff to Rain Man Hobbies for helping out as well. And Discovery Camp, go check it out on Facebook. It looks good. I actually found this out through the Positive RC movement, through Enzo and Andrew's Facebook page. That's another great page you guys can go check out as well. I'm going to get those two on her, and we're going to talk about how that started. And racing up there in the Northeast here soon because, man, I'm booked up, man. I'm probably got about 4 or 5 podcasts just to do this week. So I'm going to be busy. All right, Joseph. So can you stop tinkering now? Can you put that down?
Yeah.
So we have another one of my favorite races in RC coming up. The Nationals.
Euros.
Sorry. Yeah, we already had the Nationals. I'm an idiot.
We all know that by now.
Yeah, I don't know. The Nationals are still on my mind. I don't know why. I guess you know what it was? I forgot. We had some people complain about us not actually being at the Nationals and talking about it. But you know what I thought of?
Yeah, I saw that. But there was apparently we had some wrong information or something. But which information?
Yeah, I don't know either. But some people are like, well, you guys wasn't at the race. And I get that. We wasn't at the race. But trust me, I watched the race, on Live RC. So I saw pretty much I didn't watch every truggy race, but I watched pretty much every buggy race and I also keep in touch with the drivers from JQ that are there on a regular basis. Like even when I'm not at a race, I'm still at a race talking to people. So with that being said, I don't know if you guys listen to Pope MX or Steve Mathis. I know Steve Mathis doesn't go to every race, but he gets to recap about it. So
that he does.
With that being said, you don't actually have to be at the race. Yes, it's good to be at the race. You get to see the inside and all the drama and all that type of stuff. I agree. We wasn't there for that. But to actually watch the racing and Live RC did a pretty decent job of covering most of the mains and stuff like that. I mean, we're not blind. We can see what happened. Also, it's our opinion looking from the outside in. As fans, we weren't there, so we're just looking at what we can see on the computer screen. So, yeah, it wasn't as accurate as being there, but I think we watched as much racing as anybody being there. Because also when you're at a race, you're not stuck and glued to the track 24/7, like kind of how some guys without lives are, like myself. So, yeah, I'm not even sorry if it wasn't as real as what people thought it was. Then anybody who goes to any of these races are more than welcome to come on the podcast and we'll talk about it because I like to get opinions of people that are actually there as well. But hey, that was the Raw Nats recap according to us, looking out from the outside in. Okay, Joseph, so the Euros next week in Italy at Ongaro Ring. Are you excited?
Kind of.
You're never excited, man. You have the emotions of a sloth.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
When I get there.
Well, Max left Sunday. He did the Finnish Nationals. He left on Sunday. They're taking him and his dad and his mom. They're taking making it a vacation. They're in their camper. They're doing the whole Euro road trip. You're leaving Friday.
Yep.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a big Euros. Personally.
Why?
Just I think it has a lot more hype about it this year. Ongaro's been pretty much unbeatable. Yes, he's been beaten. I know David wants to get a win. The runabout, he kind of needs a big win. He wants one. Badier.
When was his last win?
Bueno, I don't know.
So is Coelho going?
I don't know. I hope so.
Coelho wins last year. Who won before that? Boots twice?
Boots won in...
Oh, no, Sweden. Robert won in Sweden.
Robert won in
Boots
Sweden.
won twice.
Yes, and Boots won his first Euros at this race, at this track.
So it's actually a long time since David has won.
Yeah.
David won the year before that, did he?
Believe so.
2 years of Boots, 1 year of Robert, 1 year of, who did I say? Coelho.
Yeah.
That's 4 years.
And Ongaro has yet to win a Euro championship.
Yeah.
So
who won before Boots? Was it Ronnie Falk?
I believe so. I don't have those. My internet's not fast enough to look up that stuff.
Maybe it was France then. He won in France.
It was definitely when he was driving a car. Yeah. But remember,
when he switched to HB.
Yeah. So, yeah, I can't wait. I mean, who are we looking at? Ongaro is going to be fast, obviously. David, Robert, Canas has been on a roll lately. Boots. Then you can throw in, who will we throw in from it? Berton, Figueiredo. Throw in those two.
Figueiredo isn't on that level.
What? He's been putting in work, dude. I don't know what you're talking about.
He just isn't on that level. He can't win the Euros.
I didn't say he could win it. I'm just talking about our finalist, like who I think is going to be in the final.
Oh, right. Well, that's different. Yeah, he can be in the final.
How about somebody like, who do you think that's going to impress you as a young kid that can make this final?
Someone new?
Yeah, like who
could be someone new? Well, Valente. I mean,
yeah, he's on fire.
He's kind of new. He hasn't made a Euros main yet. Mm-hmm. He could make it. He's been really fast.
You got Pelle and you got Hampisberg too. I think they have potential. Polito as well.
Polito and Valente, I think, are a step above Pelle and Hampus.
Yeah.
I mean, last year Pelle almost made it, though.
Yes.
It was the first one to not make the main, so.
Mm-hmm. Also, we cannot forget the Killex. Birkin and Kilic.
Both of them, actually, now.
Kilic. And then I would even throw in, we could throw in the Skid, probably Johnny Skidmore can probably make it far as well. I think definitely the semis is
semis, but what's his name? Clancy also.
Yeah.
I just don't see them being fast enough to make the main.
They had a little bit of beef at this last Nationals here last weekend. And
they did?
Yeah, a buddy of mine was telling me something. They were getting in at each other on the track, and then they kind of got in a shouting match on the driver's stand. I haven't really heard too much about it, but yeah, definitely Clancy and Skidmore. I think then you can throw like a veteran like Neil Craig as well. I believe he's doing this.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is so much talent going into the Euros. I just think, and then, I hopefully I'd like to see you, Pecco, and maybe Max. I know Bradley's going. I think Bradley can do well too, but I definitely think semis are not out of the question for you, Pecco or Max. I'd like to see one of you three make it to the finals. I don't know if that's I think that's feasible. If Max's engine issues are right, because, he had a little bit of engine issues this weekend in Finland. But he has an OS. He shouldn't be having these type of problems. So.
Yeah, now it's on him. Finally, he can believe me when I say it's on him.
How about Pecco? Pecco doesn't race much, but he's super talented.
Yeah, he'll be fast for a lap at least. I don't know if he'll keep it together for 5 minutes.
No.
We'll find out.
You have no faith. Like, this is your driver, and you have no faith. I'll tell you, man. You have the heart of ice. Like,
I'm just being real.
Yeah, you're just being real. I don't know, man. It's going to be really interesting. I think this is going to be the Euros of the young. Like, this is when these young kids are going to just shine. I'm not surprised if we see just a few of the old guard and then a whole bunch of young guys in the semis and finals.
Yeah. Does Jessica Paulson, does she beat me?
Well, if she takes you out, like Canas did, like Canas did at RCGP.
Without any takeouts, does she beat me?
I don't know. Should
this be our bet?
Yeah,
did she beat me last year?
I can. Yes. Oh, no, she beat you at the Neo.
I think she was in the same main. We were in the quarterfinal, I think, but I think I beat her in the end.
All right. So are we actually gonna bet for an AC here now? Finally.
Okay.
How How about my salary? How about we bet that I get my salary this month?
Why? You get your salary every month.
I know, but maybe you put a little extra in to get an AC. I'm only joking.
Yeah, but what do you lose? See, here's the thing. You think a bet is like you can win, but you can't lose.
Yeah, but
when you lose, nothing happens.
Yeah, but
that's not a bet.
All right. So what do you want then? If Jeff, see, but I don't think she's gonna beat you though. That's the problem. So you put me in a hard bet.
Okay, then you can't take the bet.
Yeah, you know. So
is she gonna beat Max?
No, I think Max is gonna beat you if he does everything right.
Well,
there's the bet.
Right.
There's the bet. We're gonna say, is Max gonna beat you this weekend?
Okay, I say no.
Of course you say no. I say yes because I have full faith in Max. I believe Max and Pecco.
That's a good bet.
I believe Max and Pecco will beat you, and so
let's just go with Max for now.
Okay. So if Max beats you, I finally get an AC. I'll probably get an AC in this room when it gets cool. That's probably when it's gonna happen.
Okay.
And if
I beat him, what then?
I don't know. What do you get? What do you want?
I don't know.
I'll give you Facebook immunity for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that doesn't do me anything. That's
yes,
the whole
it
thing.
does.
Like, nothing changes. No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
I do what I want anyway. It doesn't matter what you say.
No shit. No shit.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. What do you guys think I should give Joseph if he beats Max? What do you think the bet should be? I want an AC. What should Joseph get? Let's ask let's ask the listeners. I'm pretty sure they're gonna want Facebook immunity like I do. They'll probably,
but it doesn't change anything.
No, they'll probably say he gets 30 more days. Oh man, you're so suffering without that. So
I'm really not.
Yes, you are.
The reason I'm suffering is because it's work. I need it for work.
Right.
No, I really do.
Other news, I see that Valente is going to replace Jorn Newman at RCGP. That's good stuff.
He is.
So there we have.
Jorn had some 10 scale or something.
Yeah, but that's cool because he won RC2 and now he moves up to RCGP.
That's right.
Good stuff. All right. Well, I don't have much more to say this week. Do you have any news to add? Well, okay, we need to pick.
What about the wild cards? What do you think? Going to be the wild cards.
I think I would like to see Barufalo again because he's wild. He pissed everybody off. And I don't know. Maybe Barton, maybe Figueiredo would be cool. Too bad we ain't going to be able to see Badia again, but that's how the cookie crumbles, you know?
Maybe Jessica Paulson.
Yeah, I mean, if she wants to come. But I don't know.
None of us would like that.
Yeah. We need to.
It's like when Marlin Carlson beat Spencer Rivkin at some EOS race.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
That's the same.
I know these guys don't like to lose, man. When they don't like to lose at all. And nobody likes to lose, so except you. We'll see. It should be interesting. I actually think we should have a female race. That would be cool. I want to see who the best female 8-scale racer is out there. It'd be great. I mean, it's nothing. Not being sexist or anything. I just want to see an all-female race with the best 8-scale racers. I think we have enough for Maine. And maybe that would encourage more females to get into RC. Be good to see. Because I still think Ronda's the fastest. But I think Jessica can beat her.
Maybe on a US track. Maybe like the DNC or something. Maybe Ronda would win. But if it's in Europe, then Jessica would win. Pretty sure.
Well, it'd be good to see. Then you have Tahana. I talked about this in the last. Tahana Craddock. And then a couple of other females that I would like to just see them all race.
I mean, Marlin would probably be the best, but she quit, so...
Yeah. Oh, well. Maybe one day we'll see an all-female race. So, it'll be good to see. Are we going to do picks for Euros now? Top 3? Or you want to wait?
No.
Are you going to be able to record next week?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
I
should be able to.
When does the Euros start?
Yeah, let's do our picks next week.
When do the Euros start?
Oh, no, wait. The Euros actually start... When do they start? On Tuesday, I think.
Yeah.
With practice. Okay, so we should pick now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're going to be able to come on and talk I mean, it'd be great to get a little report from you while you're there, but...
Okay, let's see. So the picks are the same as always, basically. Well, maybe not. Maybe there are more drivers that could win, that I think could win. Should we start with that? Who can win?
Yeah, sure. Who can win?
Okay, Ongaro, Robert, Ronnefalk, Boots. This is like who can win without it being a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 4. Then Barufalo.
Yes.
5.
What about Berton?
Five guys who can win without it being a surprise.
I would agree with all the 5 of those guys.
Berton is, I think it would still be a bit of a surprise if he won.
If who won? Berton? I think it would be a surprise if Barufalo won, but I don't think it's with not.
No.
I think
maybe like because he's a bit like Fenn.
Right, but I don't think. I think his ability is there to win. If that makes sense.
But the surprising part of him winning is him finishing the race.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
But I think okay. So we have Ongaro, David, Robert, Boots, and Barufalo. 5. Anyone else? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Who am I missing?
I don't think you're missing anybody out of
Oh,
that.
Coelho. Is Coelho there?
I don't know. I hope he does go. I hope he goes. Be good.
Need to find out. So if Coelho is there, can he win?
Are the Testmans going to be there?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. I don't even think he's going. He hasn't probably driven an 8-scale car and at all since the Worlds. So.
Yeah, do they have the entry list on the FR website?
No, you would know that. I don't. All right, surprises. Who do you think are launch?
Well, we sort of covered it. So
all right.
The kids. We have Burak and Berkan Kilic. I think either one of them really could spring a surprise and do really well.
Mm-hmm.
Polito was already in the main last year. Can he step up? Oh, we forgot one guy who could win.
Canas.
Yes, Canas.
Yeah.
I think he is number 6. Like, he's the 6th guy who could win. And I wouldn't be surprised if he won.
Mm-hmm.
He just won the Spanish National over Robert. So.
Yes, he did.
Then, yeah. So then the surprising guys, so the Kilic brothers. Then we had Valente.
Mm-hmm.
He could do really well. Is there someone else? Pelle, I don't know. I would pick Valente over Pelle. We saw that in the RC2 class also.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting. This is a very fast.
I don't really see anyone.
Fast-flowing race. This is a very fast-flowing track. True Euro-style track.
Well, they changed it now. The layout's more like...
Ew, they did?
More like a mix of US /
Do they have big
Euro.
jumps, or did they stick with...
They aren't really that big, but there are quite a few.
Mm-hmm. Well,
but it's a new layout from last time.
Well, I know who's going to be glued to the television watching this, and this is this idiot right here. He's going to be glued to RC Racing TV and watching it all week. Well, when they start. I can't wait. Another great race. Something I was going to say. I can't remember. They have a junior final as well, right? At this, and they have LCQ, of course. So that's good.
Yeah.
There's going to be some exciting racing. Can't wait.
Found the entry list.
Okay.
Found the entry list. Let's see. Portugal. I don't see a Coelho. Carlos Duraes, Melo Figueiredo, Ribeiro, Monteiro.
Here's a question I have. Do you think?
Nope, there's no Coelho. He wins last year and doesn't attend.
Well, he's been. I think he's racing probably the Euro onwards this weekend. That's what it is. They have the IC Euro. I don't know which scale, but it's this weekend. I believe I saw it today. I have a question. Does Walenka show up and race?
Well, let's check. I don't think so. What's he, Austria?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's on the list.
Oh, yeah. Never come out Walenka, dude.
Dude, yeah. Let's follow Wolanka for this race.
Yeah, it should be
What's
good.
he running?
Mugen.
Yeah. Martin Beyer is there.
Yeah, I think he's running for. I think he's running for Model X. So.
Okay.
Model X, sorry, not Model X. I can't wait. Max is gonna beat you. I got an AC finally, and
oh yeah, I have a mechanic for the Euros now.
Who's that?
Austrian guy, Stefan Bajek.
Oh,
I don't know how to say his name. He was my mechanic at the RCGP in Fairing.
Okay, good stuff. Does he drive JQ or?
No.
Okay. Cool. And Scott.
Any French kids? Any French kids gonna do well?
Maybe Zach. Or is it Zach or Ryan? Yeah, Zach can probably do well.
Ryan Medjobi is the fast one. If you're thinking about Medjobi.
Sorry. Yeah, I got the names confused. Ryan. Sorry, Ryan. Maybe Musso does something. He's not a kid though. He's kind of older.
He's not on the list. Oh wait, he races for Monaco, isn't he?
Oh, he's from Monaco?
Well, yeah, I guess he races for them at least. I don't know where he's from.
If he's from Monaco, he's loaded. So, good stuff, man. We can't wait. Euros next week. We're going to do a giveaway for that, too. We're hopefully going to give away the skateboard deck for that, finally. So, we shall see. All right. Well, I don't have anything else to say. Let's get on to the Assault. Do you have anything else to say before we move on to the Assault RC Invisible Speed segment?
No, I'm done.
All right.
You are now locked in to the Assault RC Invisible Speed segment. Check out AssaultRC.com for the latest products for all your performance RC needs. Featuring the best lubes and specialty tools on the market. Use promo code LEFTY19 at checkout for 10% off your entire order at AssaultRC.com.
Welcome, everybody, to the Assault RC Invisible Speed segment. This is the part of the podcast dedicated to all of your setup questions. If you guys have any setup questions whatsoever, please send them via message to the podcast page or post them on our Assault RC thread, which is pinned to the top of the Facebook page, the No Name RC podcast. So this week, Joseph, our question comes from Omar Ferrer. I know I've said his name wrong, like I say everybody's name wrong. So, this is what he says. He says, I've been noticing more people are using diff setups like 557, 757, basically using very thick oil in the rear. JQ has talked about this, but it was brief. I've tried this setup and I'm still undecided as to where to go. One theory is that RC cars nowadays have so much steering, it's okay to use a thick rear diff. Do you think this trend will continue with further setups in the future? There you go, Joseph. What do you think about thick rear ends?
I like thick rear ends as long as they aren't too thick. You know?
Yeah, I like them thick.
I don't think it's the cars, it's the tracks. A lot of tracks are smooth and high grip, so you can get away with running a thick rear diff.
Okay.
So basically what happens is mostly people always used to just use thin diff oil in the rear, like 3000 pretty much everywhere. But the thing is that you can get more corner speed and more acceleration, so more speed out of your car if you can run thicker rear diff oils. So a thin rear diff will make the car have more steering off power. So when you go into a corner, you have more steering. It could even make the rear end loose to where you kind of want to spin out when you enter corners. Or maybe entering to mid corner off power, your rear will want to slide around. So you have good steering in hairpins because of this, for example. But then when you get on power, you don't have as much acceleration because the rear end isn't driving as much. So it's easy to accelerate because you can just punch it and the car will go straight. So then if you put thicker oil in the rear diff, going into the corner, the rear end will be more locked in. So you'll have less steering off power. So the rear end won't want to swing around. You don't lose the rear end going into corners or mid corner if you're off power. But then when you get on power, then you have more acceleration and drive, but that also means that the rear end will want to step out a bit if you accelerate too hard or if the rear oil is too thick. So then what tends to happen is when you start to accelerate, the car doesn't accelerate straight anymore. It tends to want to start fishtailing because the rear is driving so much. So it's a balance. You have to find the correct thickness where you have enough steering going into corners and then you have good drive exiting corners. Typically, if I find that, at least for me, I'll be the fastest when I run the thickest possible oil I can in the rear. Because it's just so much easier to go through high-speed corners, sweepers, and I just have so much more acceleration out of corners. And also it's easier for me to enter corners, so I can enter them faster too, if I have the steering. I can get the steering by changing other things on the car. And as for bumps, it's typically easier to drive with a thin rear diff in bumps, because the thick rear diff oil will make the car unstable in bumps. But like I said, so many of the tracks nowadays are high grip and smooth, so you can get away with running quite thick diff oil, like even 10,000 and more.
So if you was at the Nationals last week, you would have been up to a heavy rear diff oil.
Yeah, at the Nationals, probably on a JQ, I would have run some. Well, it looked like there was a lot of grip and they had good steering, so maybe I would have run something like 15,000, 20,000, 15,000 even. Try something like that.
Yeah, in the rear.
Or maybe 15, 10, 15. Or I would have tried different combinations to find what feels best.
Yeah, and I'm sure that helps on that type, especially on if that type of track with so much grip, it helps just those cars rotate more, and because it stiffens them up a little bit more, so they can just because there's so much grip in the track, you have to take away some of the mechanical grip of the car. So this helps it rotate more. That's what I've been thinking about lately on high bike tracks with our cars. I'm probably wrong.
Say that again?
I'm probably wrong what I've been thinking, but my thinking was, for instance, our cars make so much mechanical grip on high bike tracks. They get a bit twitchy. You have to do a whole bunch to get them to rotate without being twitchy. So I've always wondered. I haven't really had a chance to try it because I haven't raced in a long time. But I've always wondered on these high bike smooth tracks, if you go to a really heavy rear diff oil, because I know like a lot of guys in Asia are running the heavy diff oils. Will this just help our cars rotate more and be less twitchy around high bike smooth tracks?
Well, they rotate less, and that's why they are less twitchy and more stable.
So I had it right.
High bike tracks.
I had it right, just reversed.
Yeah, basically, the car will be more forward drive at all times. Mm-hmm. So it will have less off-power steering, which makes it stable, and then more on-power drive and steering.
Got you. That makes sense. I just wasn't sure how to word it, as usual.
It's more stable off-power, which makes it a lot less twitchy.
Yeah.
And then you just control how much throttle you give it, and it will be stable.
Got you. Makes sense. Anything to add to thick rear ends before we move on?
No, that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Omar, for your question. Thank you, everybody, for your support with this segment. Please go to the Facebook page, the No Name RC Facebook page. Right there at the top of the page. It's pinned there. You can put any questions you want there. Thank you to Assault RC for coming on and sponsoring this segment. Remember, guys, if you go to assaultrc.com, type in Lefty19, you get 10% off your order. Thank you all. I'm glad I hope you enjoyed the Assault RC Invisible Speed segment. So, hey, guys, we've come to the main interview of this podcast. This week, as I said in the intro, we're going to talk to Jason Ashton. I was a big fan of Jason Ashton, Chad Bradley, when I was younger. Well, I'm a little older than him, but back when Nitro was king and 8-scale buggy was really big, Jason was a very fast young driver. He was always in the magazines. He was doing well. Him and Chad Bradley were a really good team from Mugen. So I thought it'd be cool to have him on this podcast. I do appreciate him coming on. He was very truthful, very honest with his answers. I do apologize for the mic popping a little bit. I think that was on his end. So it has a little popping noise. But I really enjoy talking to Jason. I really enjoy talking to all of our guests. But I really have a special place in my heart for the legends, I like to call them, the guys that I grew up racing and watching race. So I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Thank you to Jason Ashton for coming on. And yeah, thank you guys for the continued support. Anyway, here we are, episode 32 with Jason Ashton. So hey everybody, joining us this week in the virtual studio, 2004 8-scale national champion and probably one of the fastest guys, I wouldn't say back in my time, really into racing. Back when there was only Mugen and Kyosho and Thunder Tiger. Mr. Jason Ashton. What's up, Jason? How are you?
How's it going, bud?
I'm cool, man. I had you on the podcast at DNC briefly when I did some interviews there. It was, in case people didn't listen to that, it was kind of weird because I was watching you take pictures and you had like I want to call it a BMX type of uniform, and I was like, who's this BMX guy going around taking pictures? You look so familiar. So I think I asked Joseph or the guy, and I said, who is that? And they said, that's Jason Ashton, man. I said, no wonder he looks familiar. So I ended up talking to you, got a few words from you on the interview, and we've been meaning to do this podcast for a while. You finally have some time. I have some time, so I'm happy to have you on, man.
Awesome, yeah. At Nitro Challenge there, I always see people I haven't seen for years, and usually you can't really miss us in our work uniforms, as we are in complete fluorescent safety yellow.
Yeah,
and they are kind of mountain bike jersey looking. So yeah, definitely can't miss us when we're out there, and that's kind of the point.
Yeah, I mean that. I never even thought of the fluorescent yellow being for safety, because I'm also a big proponent of turn marshals actually using high vis vests. So. I can get it. Yeah, I think I'm just thinking, like, I think turn marshals should use high vis vests like they do in Europe and whatnot, because you can see people. So now it makes sense why it is lime green or fluorescent yellow, whatever the color you're using, because you are definitely all over the track taking pictures.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny, when we started this business, I'm used to wearing safety vests, construction vests, or anything high vis anytime we're out at any type of track, whether it be an RC track or motocross track or any type of speedway. And when we developed the company, I was like, you know what? I don't want to wear those vests anymore. Those things get in the way. They're hot. They're just honestly just annoying. So I was like, hey, let's just develop our colors as safety yellow high vis, and then all of our uniforms are already that, so we don't even have to wear the vests.
Good stuff.
And it works as a little marketing ploy as well, because again, you can't miss us, and that's kind of the point. And even what you said about turn marshals and the vests, it should have always been that way. I think it's even silly that any of the places they don't do it. I think it adds a little bit of professionalism to it, makes it easier to see who is definitely a turn marshal, where are turn marshals, where are people missing. Absolutely, yeah, that should be a standard thing at every track nowadays.
Yeah, I agree. It's a safety thing. It's definitely needed. But I could go on about a lot of things that are needed in RC. I know who you are, and a lot of the old school guys, they know who you are, because you were a very prominent figure in the 90s and the early 2000s in the RC scene. But there are people that listen to this podcast that are kind of new or haven't been in it that long. So I always try to get a brief introduction of these guests, like yourself. How did you start in RC and whatnot like that? So we can start off right there. Like, how did you get into RC?
It's kind of the popular story for people that get into it when they're really young. My dad got me one for Christmas. And he got it for me when in 1986. We're going way back here. And when he bought it for me, he didn't know that one of my uncles had bought an RC car for me as well. And we actually ended up with two. And my dad, who I have learned an awful lot from, was like, hey, if we have two, maybe we can return these and get one even better one. And so we did, and he returned both of them to, I think it was honestly like a Radio Shack type of place. I don't even think it was a hobby store back then. And he got a Tamiya lunchbox.
Okay.
And what is funny is my dad still has the lunchbox today.
The original one that he bought for you.
He has the original one that he
wow.
painted, spray painted blue and everything. He still has it. And they found out that there was a track in Coral Springs, Florida. And we went down to the track and was like, oh, cool, they race? Sure, let's start racing. So we started racing just locally down there and in Florida for a very short time. We ended up moving out of Florida in 1989. And honestly, I don't remember too much about the racing even there. I was so young. And when we moved to Las Vegas, we found out there was a track out here, and we're like, cool, let's go racing out here. And started doing some racing and getting a little more serious with it and actually like attending big local races.
Right.
Again, we're talking late 80s here. There wasn't, nearly the amount of big races that there are now. I know we did a nationals there, which, that's like the 89 something or another truck nationals. I have a picture about it somewhere.
Yeah.
And I got 9th place. I got this big trophy, like 5 foot tall trophy. And that kind of just sunk the deal. Like, hey, I want to do this.
Oh, yeah.
And what's funny is I think my dad even told me recently that like this 9th place trophy that I was so proud of, I think there was 9 people in the class.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I actually got last at the nationals
wow.
in the class I was racing, but I got the trophy. So I didn't really care.
How was the race scene in Vegas in the 90s? Like, what tracks were popular back then?
We've always had like one in Vegas. That's just always been the Vegas track. Like, there's always one track.
Okay. Yeah.
And
much
we
change.
had one that, I wish I knew the name of it when we first moved out here, but I know the owner was Ed Portello. He owned it. And then actually in like 90, it's got to be like 91, 92, my parents actually opened a track in Las Vegas.
Okay.
They opened a track called Fast Tracks, which was a carpet off-road track. They were way ahead of their time because we already see that going this nowadays. Because my dad thought that would be way better. Like, don't have to clean the cars and tons of traction. And he thought it was going to be great back then. And it was super unpopular. Everybody hated it. They all wanted dirt back then. They didn't want anything to do with carpet. So he pulled up all the carpet, dumped down dirt. And the track was good. We had a lot of popular people. And who used to race there? Jeremy Courts used to race there all the time. Another old school guy. Richard Saxton started there.
Yep.
That was actually his first track he raced at. He used to come when he just turned 18 and stopped racing motocross and supercross. But yeah, we had a bunch of people. Kurt and Kyle Busch, the NASCAR drivers, used to come. And that's actually... we've stayed close friends since then.
Yeah, I raced against Kyle myself.
Did you?
Yeah, back in 2004 in North Carolina. He was like 17 in monster truck class.
I actually remember a couple of those races that he would call me and tell me that he was doing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But the racing was in the late 80s, 90s in Vegas. It's always just been that one track that we've had. It was my parents', which was Fast Tracks. Then there was one that was called RC Fever that was quite popular. Then we've had the Silver Bowl, where the Silver State used to be many times.
I think it's still there, too, that track.
I think it technically is still there.
Yeah.
I know the driver's stand is gone, but I think the track might actually still technically be there.
It's so crazy. I remember going there and practicing with Paul Coleman and a couple of guys. 2005 was the first time they had Silver State at Boulder City. So we went out there to practice. The driver's stand was falling apart then. That's actually the first time I actually met Joseph. He was there as well. So,
yeah. I always loved Boulder City. That place still to me is one of my favorite tracks. It was such a unique place.
It was gnarly, rough.
Oh yeah, that place you always say it's like racing on the moon.
Yep. And it's funny because I was just recently in Vegas for Silver State, and we went out. My buddies and I went out to check out the old Las Vegas tracks, and I was like, man, you can still race on this track. The facility, just need to lay down some pipe and probably fix some of the jumps, and you could run on it. So.
Yeah, that's the good thing, because in Vegas there's not exactly much moisture in the dirt, so it just stays there. It just turns into cement. And
it's funny you should say carpet, because I think now the 10 scale track that they race on 702 is all carpet as well.
Yeah,
so.
I haven't been there yet, not to the new one at least, because they moved locations. I haven't been there yet, but it seems to be super popular. They have that whatever special type of carpet that they use at like the
Ozite
IIC
or something. Yeah, something like that. I don't.
Yeah, but it seems cool. I dig it.
Hey, it's fun, man. Traction.
Yeah,
and don't have to worry about cleaning your cars and just get tires last forever.
For tent scale and indoor and stuff, I don't see why you wouldn't do anything but carpet at this point, at least, again, in my opinion, for that simple sake of just like you said, tires last forever, don't have to clean the stuff. I mean, you want somebody to get into the sport. That's going to be the easiest route, not like, hey, you're going to need 20 different types of tires and these compounds depending on the dirt and if they water it or if they blow it off or if they sweep it or if it's cloudy out or if it's sunny.
We had a rant a couple weeks ago about tire costs and whatnot, and it's just getting out of hand. So being as you was in Vegas, it's about 4 hour. It's a 4 hour drive to SoCal and whatnot. So did you get to race a lot with the California guys as well? Go with the California race in the 90s?
We did. Once I started getting to that level of like, hey, like I do want to get sponsored. I want to take this to kind of that level of, hey, we're going to travel and do this. We're going to go to a nationals. If it's, it's somewhere across country, we'll fly or drive or whatever we need to do. We used to go out to California all the time. We used to race at, it was the track in Pomona. I already forgot the name of it. God, that place. SoCal. We used to race at SoCal. Okay. We used to race at the Ranch Pit Stop back in the day, the old M&M Hobbies. The Ranch Pit Stop still being one of the coolest facilities ever. And then SoCal, God, that place. Anybody that is old school, as you kind of say, and was around, that dirt was still the most unique dirt I've ever been at. Like, even when you'd turn marshal, like, it was just spongy. Like, you'd leave footprints all over the track.
That's cool. Cool. So was there a track? There was a track in Huntington. That must have came after. Because there was a track in Huntington Beach as well, I think.
Again, you got to remember, I'm pretty young during this time, so the actual like cities and stuff, I'm just sitting in the back of the car snoozing. And
Got you.
Wherever I got to go, time to race. All right, let's do this.
Was you doing a lot of your wrenching at this time, or was Pops doing a lot for you?
No, my dad was doing it all. My dad did all of it up until really I started racing gas. As I was racing electric, he was it. And if he listens to this podcast, which he probably will, he'll kill me even for this, is he always had the nickname back then of Backwards Ashton.
Really?
Because every single time my car would get set down on the line, it would just take off backwards because he would solder the motors in backwards.
Oh, man. No way. He must have been embarrassed.
Still to this day, he blames Mike Reedy for it or Steve Dunn or whoever for the motors. Like when they'd rebuild our electric motors back then, they'd change it somehow. But that was it. It was Backwards Ashton. As soon as my car would go down, right backwards, and he'd be running back, firing at the soldering iron to solder it the other way.
So as I was doing some research about you, I saw that you got sponsored by Losi back in 1991. This is back in the day when you actually had to be really skilled to get sponsored. How did that come about?
So 91, I'm going to assume your research on that's probably correct because I probably said that at some time, but it was right around there. So I would have been 9 years old. And we, like I said, we must have had our own track around 91 then, so that had to be when it was. And I did really well at the Ranch Pit Stop a few times. I did really good at the Battle at the Beach that they used to have in Lake Havasu. And I remember just calling Losi, just literally calling them out and be like, hey, what do I got to do? And like mailing a resume to them, like in the mail. And when we mailed it, I was waiting for responses. Like you sit and wait for something to come in the mail, not email or not like next day or a phone call. Like it's like actually waiting.
I remember those days.
Exactly. And I remember my first deal with with Losi was a 50% off deal. And I thought it was like, I have made it. It was also, I was one of the youngest back then. There wasn't 9-year-olds racing in making mains at the time. Like I was that young kid back then.
Right.
Like there's tons now. It's amazing how many young kids there are that are good. And that 50% off deal, like I thought I was top of the world for a 50 off deal. And we went to Pops Losi's house a few times. I don't remember a ton about it, which is kind of sad, but it was a good time. I enjoyed all the time racing with Losi. That was when you would be stoked if they had a new sticker. that only the factory guys could have. It was just like, ooh, we have the purple and blue or the yellow and whatever Losi stickers. Like, you thought you like ruled the world just because of the different colored sticker you had.
Yeah, you couldn't just go out and get stickers made back in that time either. So, it was even hard just getting T-shirts and stuff. So.
Oh, exactly. What's funny, I have my Losi jacket still. It's at my parents' house. My parents, a lot of the stories you'll hear here, I have my parents that they save a lot of things, and we have my fluorescent pink and black Losi jacket still from when we raced with them.
Awesome. So from that time, he was about 9, and I would say, so we got the 90s going through. What was you doing mostly in the 90s? A lot of electric racing. Was you doing any gas truck racing at this time?
No, I wasn't doing any until later in the 90s there. We were doing a lot of electric, and my big focus always was four-wheel drive. I've always had a knack more for a four-wheel drive car than a two-wheel drive car, and so four-wheel was always my class. Wherever there was four-wheel, I was all about that. And I was always racing a lot of stock. Like, that was my thing, is stock classes back then.
Right.
And was racing Jimmy Babcock a lot because we were, both young-ish, because I think Jimmy's only got me by a couple years.
Okay.
And Travis Amescua back then, like, it's the same 3 and 4 people that would be battling at all the nationals and big races.
Yeah, that was like that young group of guys that came up. I would say you, Chad Bradley, Amescua, Quartz.
Yep.
You guys kind of all came up racing. I would say before like Tebow and Cav. I think you were the guys before Tebow and Cav and those guys. And
we were kind of the previous, I guess, generation you can call it, because there was like one class of all of us that kind of came up at the same time, and then there was that, like you said, Tebow, Wheeler, Cavallari, even Bobby Tillman back then. Like this whole like one group that came up together. Mayfield, he kind of came up white with them as well.
Yeah. And then like I would say your older group of racers were guys probably they're slightly older than you were, like Degani, Saxton, Pavitas. I wouldn't even know who else was that. Like I don't know I don't remember all those guys. I would throw Scott Hughes in with your group as well, because he's about the same age as you guys.
Scott's got me by a couple years. He's a little bit older than me. He was always like one of the factory mod guys while I was still racing the stock class. But Pavitas for sure, Kinwald, Masami,
yes, all those guys.
Matt Francis, Mark Francis, the two Francis brothers,
Billy Easton,
Greg Hodap. Barry Baker. I mean, he's still racing. Yeah.
Oh man, it was so awesome to watch him and Degani and Saxon talk shit to each other. Like at DNC,
it hasn't changed.
It was so funny. I gotta get Barry on this podcast. Him and Degani are awesome together. Like they make me laugh.
Yeah. Any podcast would just be better with Degani in the background, just asking questions or just poking him, because
he's so savage.
He will get anybody to react. That's for sure.
I know. He's been on a couple of them, but it's like pulling teeth to get him on her. I mean, once he gets on her, he gets all excited and he don't stop.
He can't get him off.
So now let's say like in the 90s you started when did you start transitioning more into nitro?
It was funny. It was kind of just a circumstance thing. Is when I switched from Losi to racing for Associated. Associated has a gas truck.
Right.
This was when they were the only ones with the gas truck. There wasn't even the Losi gas truck yet. And we just kind of gave it a try. I was never very good at it, if we're going to be honest.
Really?
Again, going back to two-wheel drive.
Okay.
It's never been quite my knack. And I don't think I ever had anything stellar.
Okay.
As results for gas truck. Made a couple mains at Silver States. But nothing that was ever stellar in gas truck ever. I mean, we're talking about even then to when I stopped racing. Gas truck was never my forte. But we started doing that, and then actually Richard Saxton put on the very first Silver State, and I was close friends with Richard, and it was here in Vegas. He held it out at the motocross track out by the Speedway, and it was like at that point, okay, I tried gas truck, and I had a friend that loaned me his 8-scale car. And I actually TQ'd the very first Silver State.
What car was it? Do you remember?
It was a Mugen Super Athlete.
Oh, was this the one with the
engine on the other side?
Yeah. I wanted that car so bad when I was younger. Oh, man.
So what's funny is, again, it was my first ever race. I think we only practiced like 1 or 2 times even. Mm-hmm. And they really only had like 1 round of qualifying because it kind of got rained out.
Yeah.
And I TQ'd the first round, and that was it. Like I was TQ for the very first Silver State at my very first 8-scale race.
You know what's so funny is that all of those guys that I mentioned, like Tebow, Cav, Courts, Degani, all them, Saxon, all those guys, Bradley, all those guys were really good in gas truck, and that's where they kind of cut their teeth. And you're kind of like the opposite. Like you came in and it's like, yeah, screw gas truck. I'm gonna race forward nitro buggy. So and you done well.
Yeah, it didn't. It just 2-wheel drive vehicles never fit my style. I always kind of drive more like the Euros drive now, and it's still to this day. Even if I try driving a 2-wheel car, it just doesn't feel right. But you put me in a sedan, any on-road car that's 4-wheel drive, any off-road car that's 4-wheel drive, and it feels natural to me.
Okay.
And 8-scale it fit right from the get-go. I was like, this is all I want to race. I don't want to race anything else but 8-scale.
So then after that first race, you was hooked. That was it. Like, I'm just going to race 8-scale from now on.
That was it. And I only wanted to race gas. And I actually don't know if I ever raced really electric again ever after that. I might have maybe had some on-road stuff a little bit, but it was just the transition period at that.
So who was next in, well, what truck, what buggy was you racing when you were still sponsored by Associated? Anything you wanted?
Yeah, they didn't care.
Okay.
They literally didn't care because they didn't make anything even close to that back then. So I ran the Super Athlete for a little while. We went to the Norca Nats because they used to have Norca instead of Roar. Well, they had both back then.
Yes.
And I went to the Norca Nats actually at Steve Hale's track, Jared Tebow's father-in-law.
Okay.
In Missouri, and I won the Norca Nats there with the Super Athlete.
Really?
And after that, I got sponsored by the then Kyosho, but it was through Great Plains, the distributor. You didn't race for Kyosho directly unless you raced for Japan. You raced for Great Plains. So I raced for Great Plains with Kyosho back then for a little while.
They had a big team back in the day, a really big team.
Yeah, they had a big push. And God, who else did we have? I'm trying to even think of who else we had. It seemed like everybody was racing a Kyosho.
Yeah, I think that was like that. I was always a Mugen guy. I used to hate that. And then like Kyosho always had the better drivers and whatnot, and he used to win all the time. And then I believe when Bradley and yourself went to Mugen, that's when it was like things started to turn a little bit.
Yeah, I raced with Kyosho for a while there with Great Plains, and just they gave me some kits and they helped me out, and they'd help me out with travel every once in a while for like just the nationals, like the major races.
Right.
Luckily, I had Silver State here in Vegas where I lived, so I had one of the big races where I live. The Nitro Challenge was just at Hemet, so 4 hours away. So usually it was just about trying to get to the nationals wherever they at, and a lot of times that was in California.
Yeah, because there weren't a lot of races back then. There wasn't that many big nitro races.
Nothing like there is now. You'd have 5 or 6 a year, like, and that's it.
Yeah.
Especially when we're talking 8-scale races, because that was like on its growth. And Richard actually Saxton, he started a company called Treads.
Yeah, I remember that.
He started that tire company, and I worked with Richard, and he'd help me out getting some of the races, and we kind of traveled around doing tire testing and stuff together and going to different races because, again, Richard was winning everything and anything back then.
Yep.
It didn't matter what class it was. Richard won it. If it's an 8-scale truck, he's going to win it. If it's an 8-scale buggy, he's going to win it. If it's gas truck, he's definitely going to win it.
Yep. I remember I always heard, like, when I talked to Greg about his old times, he always mentions that, man. He's like, man, there was a time nobody could beat Richard. Like, nobody could beat him.
Absolutely. And, in a supercross or motocross analogy, Richard was McGrath.
Yeah, I could see that.
He came in and just obliterated everybody at every race. If he didn't win, it meant he broke. Like, but it's so sad that he never got a Worlds, which a lot of people didn't get a Worlds, but they came so close. But that's why it's the hardest race to win, man. It's the hardest race in RC absolutely,
to win.
Yeah. I mean, he should have. I mean, the Uruguay thing, the few different people that should have won Uruguay, but I mean, he was the fastest dude on the planet forever. I don't think he's staying awake at night because of not having the World's Trophy.
Yeah, he's still fast though. He's still good. He still gets the shakes, and he's still probably the fastest over 40 guy out there. I think he could beat a lot of people that are in the pro class too. Not in the top pro class, but you know what I mean.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Richard still is fast.
All right, so now we're gonna go on to your 8-scale career. You signed with Mugen in 2003, and this is when you actually become a fully paid pro. You must have been ecstatic.
Not paid.
Was you
If we're
not
gonna be
paid?
honest, no. My very first deal with Mugen was travel. That was it.
Okay.
They paid all my travel, all my expenses.
Contingency as well, or no?
There might have been contingency. I'm gonna assume there probably was, but it was probably only contingency on wins, and it was probably only a win for Silver State, Nitro Challenge, Nationals.
All right.
Maybe podiums at the Worlds, but that was it. My main deal was going to Mugen is I wanted travel because I wanted to go to the Worlds.
Okay.
And I really wanted to go to
Sweden?
Uruguay at the time. No, that was Uruguay first.
Okay, that
right?
was in 2002. So I'm just going off my notes that I found on the internet. The internet could be wrong. So I had you join in Mugen in 2003.
Nope, 2001.
Oh, okay, wrong. See,
Yeah,
internet
2001.
wrong.
Yeah, because I went to Uruguay
Okay.
for Mugen.
Good. Was Chad running Mugen? Yes, he was running
Yeah.
Mugen. That was MBX 4 days. Yeah.
Nope, we were in the MBX 5.
Really? No, not in.
Wait, God, what? We ran the 4 in 2001,
Yeah.
and then we got the 5. No, we got the 5 in 2003. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I remember because I waited forever for that car to come out.
Yeah. I actually, God, the MBX 4, I actually loved that car.
Yeah,
A lot of people didn't like that one, but that car was such a European-style car. It would just screw itself into the ground. It had so much steering.
Yeah. They had so many different versions. They had the MBX 4, then they had the RR, the XR.
Yep.
And I even think they had a European version type as well. But that's when you and Bradley came on, and I remember like Mugen stock just went like, that's when wins started to happen. Bradley was doing good. You was doing good. I can't remember who else was on the team with you guys, but I know you two were like the superstars.
Yeah, we actually had a solid team. We had myself, we had Chad Bradley, Bobby Tillman, the young kid, and Doug Von Mosch, Tim Long, and then Chris Moore used to still race.
Yeah.
I mean, it was solid. And then if you even caught their on-road team with Robbie Collins and I think Mike Swagger was even running the Mugen stuff back then. I mean, they were kind of on all the 8-scale fronts. We were doing well, like really well. We weren't winning a lot of races, but we were constantly getting top 5s on the podiums. Like we were there always.
People have to understand at this time, it was just 3 cars. 3. Okay. Well, I think Quartz went to Offner. Well, he did Kyosho. I think Quartz might have been at Offner at this time and running the Hellbow. And Paul was running, and he would make a main once in a while. But Quartz was really good. And the Wheelers were running it at this time, too, running the Offner cars, and they were doing well. But at this time, you just had Mugen, Kyosho, Thunder Tiger, and then I'll throw in Offner at this time.
Yeah, there wasn't. I mean, there was nothing like there was now. And if we were really honest, there was probably only Kyosho, and then Mugen was kind of and you see a few of those every once in a while. Kyosho was it. Like you'd see mains and 8 Kyoshos in it. Like it wouldn't surprise you sometimes if all of them would be Kyoshos.
I used to detest Kyosho so much. Oh my god, so much. So all right. So when did you? I guess then after you won the Nationals in 2004, probably a very controversial win. I remember this. Where was this? Was this in Vegas? This race or?
It was. Yeah, it was in Vegas at my home track.
Okay, so the one thing I always remember about this race was that you was the only person to run mug shots. I think that's what they were called. What that Proline tire at the time that looked.
No, I didn't run mug shots there. I ran mug shots at the Silver State later on at Boulder City. I ran Knuckles.
That's what it was. Yeah. Sorry, the Knuckles. These tires, like nobody was using them. I liked them myself. And these are like I think predecessor to what kind of like the tires that we have now. They weren't pin tires. They were more like they actually looked like real like off-road tires, like dirt tires that you like trucks and stuff would use.
They're much more like a tread instead of pins.
I remember, if I remember correctly, you actually modified this by putting like dremeling a slit in each one of the I guess
the lugs.
And the lugs to get a little bit more tire flex and stuff like that. I remember.
Yeah, Richard actually developed that, I believe, and he told me about it and showed it to me there. And I know Chad tried them or ran them as well. The big thing that was the difference in the main, at least to my knowledge of this, I was the only person that ran the softer compound. Everybody else ran. God, what did we have? We had M2s and whatever. What was the harder compound for that?
I can't remember. It's been so long. Yeah, M1s, M2s. Right? Yeah, XDRs.
XTRs. There you go.
Yeah.
Everybody ran XTRs in the knuckles because the track was so abrasive.
Mm-hmm.
But I hated the XTR compound. It just never gave enough traction for me. And I was like, screw it. I'm going to run M2s. And if I burn them up, I'm going to burn them up. But I'm going to get out front when they're burned up.
Yeah, and you won this race. And I remember somebody was telling me that your engine was so rich. And this is where the controversy came in, is that you teched over on your tank, right? Or something like that. But now we got you here. You can explain it.
The controversy is that. But in all honesty, it actually never teched over. It kept teching on.
Okay.
It was exactly 125 the whole time. Every time. It was just right on it.
Right.
And I immediately had the argument of right on the graduated cylinder. It says it's accurate between 1 and 2 cc's. Mm-hmm. So I even told them, I was like, hey, if mine techs at 126, I'm still legal because this thing is only between 1 and 2 cc's accurate even. So they just kept checking it over and over and over, and it never teched over the limit. It was just right at it every time. And
so what was the
funny
big controversy
about it is I actually pit one more time than everybody as well.
Because you were so rich. I remember somebody saying your car was so rich that you had to come in and do an extra pit.
Yeah. I pit one more time. I was pitting every time at 6 minutes. I mean, nowadays that's laughable.
Yes.
But back then it used to be like try to get 7.5 minutes to cut a pit stop out. And I was pitting at 6 minutes at that race.
Who came second in that race?
Josh Wheeler.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, Josh Wheeler, and they definitely wanted that win any way they could.
Yeah.
For that, but no, it was never actually over. And I had blown out tanks then. Mm-hmm. All of us did. Every one of the pro guys had tanks that we would boil and then blow them out just to give them a little larger. Like I had tanks that were 130 cc tanks without even the fuel line included. But at that race, no, I ran a standard stock tank with actually heat shielding on it. Mm-hmm. That wasn't one of my big tanks because it wasn't going to matter. There was no way I was going to get that much runtime to make it to where I needed to stop. So I ran my stock tank.
Yeah. So this was your first big win in 8 scale, I would say. Was it?
Well, I won the Norca Nationals back
right.
there, but that was not to the caliber of
the
a Roar Nats. Yeah. So yeah, that was my first and I'm going to say by far largest win because at that time, I honestly do feel like I was the fastest 8 scale driver potentially in the world.
I think so too. Yeah, that time was like that period. You was like it wasn't too many people catching you.
Yeah, that car just fit my style. That was the MBX5. I had a setup that literally worked at every track. All I would do is adjust ride height like 1 millimeter or forth. Like that was it. It just fit my style.
What was okay? So now you're probably getting in the realm where you're going to get a salary, right?
Yeah. Well, I got a bonus from the Nationals. Who did I get a bonus from? I got a bonus from Mugen. I think Mugen sent me like $1,500.
Really?
And I got a surprise check from Proline. I actually didn't even know that I had contingency from Proline, and I got a check for like $750 from Proline.
Guys would laugh at that nowadays. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, they would. I think I ended up getting like $2,500 from the win. Like that was what it was worth.
I think now if you're a top driver and you're winning that, you're looking at least $10,000. You have to be maybe a little less.
I'm gonna say that number's probably high. I don't know what Mayfield's contingency plan is based upon, but I bet it's not as high as you would assume, just because salaries might be higher for the people that are actually winning the Nats.
Well, that's the thing. I don't hear that his salary for Mugen is that high either.
The Mugen kind of historically has had a pretty low salary for all their drivers. But
remember, these guys get contingency from every sticker that they have on. Every person, they're gonna get a check from every person that they use. They get the stuff for free, and then they're gonna get paid, which is cool because that's how it's supposed to be, in my opinion. You know, when you're
as long as they're smart and know how to negotiate their contracts.
Yeah. Well, I had this question because I knew you would answer it. Honestly, what was your salary like after this back in the day? Was you able to live on it?
Oh no.
How did you survive?
Definitely not. My salary after winning the Nats was the first year then I think I got paid by Mugen was 2005. I don't think I was getting paid in 2004. I might have been getting paid in 2004 as well. But yeah, I got I believe the exact same thing that Chad Bradley got, $500 a month.
Really?
$500 a month from Mugen, and when we were with Mugen back then, you couldn't really run anybody else's stuff. You had to run all of their brands for everything. So it's not like we could go and run a different fuel sponsor to pick up something. They wanted us to run Proline tires because they were, I think, distributing Proline stuff at that time, like in Japan, or I'm not sure how that. I don't remember how that exactly worked. They wanted us to run Proline stuff, and
what did
that was
you
pretty
do?
much it.
Like, was you in school?
$500 a month.
Was you in school at this time? Is that, or was you working, or?
I was doing a little bit of schooling stuff, but I was actually doing a little bit of teaching as well. That was when I was doing a lot of substitute teaching and
that's so crazy.
Little hustles on the side just to make it. But I was living with my parents at that time still, so I didn't need a tremendous salary to live because I didn't have anything to actually pay for. But yeah, that was it. It was the glory days of making $500 a month.
That's probably equivalent to, I would say, maybe $1,000 a month now, maybe a little bit more. That's still nothing.
Maybe, yeah.
Did you go to you went to the 2004 Worlds in Sweden, right?
I did.
How did you make out there?
Again, I conservatively say I honestly think I was one of the fastest, and I should have been top 5. But in the semi, I got a rock stuck in the flywheel. Killed the engine, yeah.
That was the story of that Worlds, man. Everybody was getting rocks in their flywheels, making different types of guards to stop rocks from going in there. It was crazy.
Yeah, I had Chad Bradley. He was cutting these massive holes in his flywheel so rocks couldn't get stuck. But rocks were coming in then, but it wouldn't kill the engine. And I kept making fun of him about it, and then I get a rock in the semi. So
that was a gnarly track. It's still there to this day, too, actually.
Oh, that place was awesome. Yeah. I honestly think my favorite track in the world was that track with the car I had there, the engine combo, everything. Because Chad and I then were racing for JP. John
JP,
Paul.
The modified motors.
Yeah, those things just screamed.
Did they? I had one. I got I paid $7. This is around that time. I'd say 2004, 2000, maybe before that. 2005. I got a JP modded P5. I paid $750 just for the engine. Man, that thing screamed. Wow,
yeah, they had a different sound even to them than everything. And a great thing about John Paul, one of the nicest guys ever raced for. I don't have a bad thing to say about John Paul. Is when we would be at races, he would ask us immediately after the race and what he watched and how we liked it. If we said like, "Hey, I wish it had a little more bottom end," he didn't adjust the needles. He'd pull the engine out, and you'd see him like shaving out ports.
Wow.
Like he would grind on the actual piston and the sleeve to be like, all right, yep, there you go. You should have a little more bottom end now.
That's amazing. Yeah. That was back in the day of tinkering, man. Tinkering. We've gotten away from that now in our hobby. And I mean, you can pretty much buy everything you need nowadays. So
absolutely. Yeah. That was when everything was unattainable. You know, O'Donnell engines, O'Donnell heads, O'Donnell pipes. I mean, these things were unobtainable by people. Like the factory guys were the only people that had that. And, you know, when we'd be done racing for them, we'd had to give it back.
Yeah, that's great. I remember like just trying to get an O'Donnell head was pulling teeth. And then I finally got one. And I was like, oh, I won the lottery. So
yeah,
good stuff.
Exactly. That's what I mean. I mean, the times I was offered money for parts on our cars that were, you know, unattainable. We actually had shock bodies at that Mugen made for us, these polished, dipped in who knows what shock bodies that were basically, they looked chrome. And again, that was something that was unattainable. They just did, I think, for that one race for us.
Amazing. So now you're traveling around the world racing RC cars, making $500 a month. Was this like your heyday in RC? Like you was really enjoying RC, you was having fun. How long did this go on for?
I don't know if I was having fun. I mean, looking back versus how I felt then, it's funny to like see the differences of what, you know, 15 plus years of maturing and aging has. But I put in like the most minimal amount of effort that could have been known for that for racing.
Well, you was young. You was having fun too.
Yeah, absolutely. I was young. I was engaged to my high school sweetheart back then. And like it was just the minimal amount of effort. Sometimes I would go from like the Nitro Challenge in Hemet, you know, then a month later to Silver State.
Right.
And I would start practice with the fuel that was still in the tank from the main at the Nitro Challenge.
Wow.
Like, again, I was just like, whatever, and I could still go out there and, make mains and do decent.
Right.
So, I was having fun, yes, with the traveling, because I do enjoy traveling. Even still to this day, I do enjoy it. And, with Chad and Chris and like the Mugen group was a good group of people. So there was a lot of fun to be had, but I don't know. Again, I don't know if I necessarily really did enjoy it.
He was completely different from Chad, then, because I remember him being super anal about his stuff. Like, just like I didn't know him, but reading him, like he was very on the starting grid back in the day, and just listening to stories about him. Like he was always wrenching and practicing, and you was just kind of relying on your talent, like.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it was literally black and white. Like Chad, maximum amount of effort, working on everything, testing, wrenching all night, making sure everything's perfect. And I'm in bed at 9:30 with my stuff still dirty. And I'm like, I'll figure it out in the morning.
Yeah. Being a pro guy isn't easy, dude. It isn't easy. It's a lot of time, a lot of work, and a lot of effort. Do you feel sometimes maybe if you would have put some more effort into it, you would have even done better?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah. Like, again, my work ethic now versus my work ethic then, it's laughable. And my wife doesn't even know that it's the same person. Like, she laughs when I tell her stories about then.
Yeah.
But yeah, do I necessarily regret it or wish? No, because every single decision I've made in my life has led me to this point right now. So I don't necessarily regret or would change anything. But do I believe I could have done better? Absolutely. Yeah. I think I could have and probably deserved to win, a few more titles and races if I would have actually, been out testing and practicing and trying even more instead of just that. Yeah, whatever. Like, I'm good. I'll make it happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's still people around like that, I think, but I definitely think the level of guy, there are more guys putting in the work as well now, more than probably back in the day. Well, when you're making $500, like, I guess, like you put in $500 worth of effort, I would guess, you know what I mean?
That's kind of the mentality that I definitely had. Is like, yes, this was money, but I'm still having to work. I'm having to do other stuff. So, if I'm making $1,500, $2,000 teaching a month and I'm making $500 racing, where should my time actually be spent?
Exactly. I agree with that. Before we move on, I know one of your paint job is probably one of the most iconics and most noticeable in RC. It's off of Travis Pastrana's helmet. How did that actually come about?
So it's funny. I actually learned more even about the paint scheme later on, but I'm a huge motocross and supercross fan. Have since I've been a kid, and I had a friend, and still have a friend, Tony Berluti, who was a factory Suzuki mechanic, and he was a Suzuki mechanic during the years of Pastrana. He helped Pastrana out with some of his stuff, but he did his other riders like Robbie Raynard was over there, and Sebastian Tortelli, all the other riders. He was his mechanic. And he told us one day that Pastrana wanted to get some RC stuff. And I had an old 8-scale car that I knew I could throw some new parts on, make it, good for him. So we kind of did basically a ready to run for Travis with motor and batteries and radio and just a whole little gift bag of like, here you go, you'll be good to go.
Right.
And we had Richard Saxton's actually body painter, Thunder, paint a body for Travis like Travis's helmet.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got it, I was like, that's my new scheme.
Really?
Like, that's going to be it. It was right at the time when I switched to Mugen as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of looking to not necessarily reinvent myself. I would say more invent myself and kind of market myself.
Right.
I was like, this is it. This is what I'm going to use. And it was funny. At the very first race, I raced for Mugen at the Nitro Challenge in Hemet. I didn't make the main, but I had that brand new painted body of my new scheme ready to go if I made the main. And I was in the B main, and I was dead set on making the main so I could pull that body out.
Really?
So I ran a solid green spray painted body in qualifying practice in the B main so I could pull that brand new body out for the main.
Yeah, good old Hemet days, though. Oh, that was a badass track. So you did make the main and you debuted your body, right?
Yep.
That's
I
awesome.
did, and they actually they took a sweet night picture with the flash and everything, and they put it in RC Car Action for the event. And after, I was just like, this is it. This is my scheme.
I miss. Yeah. Hey, I remember seeing it in the magazines. I was like, man, that's so badass. My boy Eddie.
What's funny though, even about it, sorry to interrupt you, is I learned more about the scheme in where Travis's helmet painter got it. Mm-hmm. He actually got it from Bill and Ted from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, that movie.
Right, yes.
It's Bill's guitar.
I'm going to have to go look at that.
I have a picture of it. I found one. I can send it to you after this.
Right.
But yeah, it's actually Bill's guitar. There's that same spiral on it, the same colors and everything.
Yeah. That was a bad. That's amazing. I never even. You got to send me that picture after we're done with her. That's for sure.
Yeah.
My boy Eddie Fikes has a couple of bodies that he got done up. He's still. He was showing me the other day in different colors, but same scheme. I think it's iconic, and one of the best paint schemes I've seen in RC in my time. So
I like it. I don't know if I can take credit for it. I can take credit, I guess, for bringing it into RC. Mm-hmm. But I always liked it because everybody else's paint scheme, still to this day, it goes from front to back.
Yep.
Like that's their paint schemes. And nope, mine went from the center out, and the left side's different than the right. The front's different than the back. I enjoyed it. I liked it. Like being different. I also never ran windows. That was always my thing. I always did the star-shaped windows instead of following any of the window lines. Even at times, like my mechanics or whoever was pitting me would be like, "You need to cut the windows so we can fuel it." Nope, figure it out. I ain't cutting the windows.
No way. Yeah. All right. So. Let's talk about your. Sorry, I'm tongue twisting myself here. Let's talk about when you left Mugen and life after that. So how and why did your departure from Mugen happen?
So at the end of my Mugen kind of career, it was just honestly a battle for money. I kept wanting more money from them. Mm-hmm. Like we were doing well and wanted more money, and it just wasn't gonna happen. And now we were again running Ninja engines, Mugen fuel. We were running everything Mugen, and we're not getting paid anymore. Technically, we're getting paid less because we can't even can't get sponsored by anybody else at all. Not that the equipment was bad, though. I mean, we were running the best equipment.
Right. It's about making money, man. You got to make that contingency and get that. I agree. I understand.
But I was getting older. I was engaged to be married. We were getting married in 2007. Mm-hmm. And it was like, okay, well, I kind of want to get a house and be able to afford things. My fiance at the time was in law school, so she's not making any money. She's in school. So it kind of just came to that point of where, okay, I need to go get paid. Yeah. Like that's what I'm going to do. And I reached out to a bunch of different companies just to see kind of, all right, how are we going to do this? Because I still wanted to run good equipment. Right. I wanted to run something that was good. And I actually received a call from Carlos Gomez over in Spain wanting me to run the Sidorf car.
Okay, so you did leave for Sidorf. I thought you left for Sen. All right.
Yep. I ran for Sidorf first. Mm-hmm. And Sidorf was basically Bergenzoni. It was a Bergenzoni car. And he flew me and my wife, or fiance at the time, over to Spain to go test the car. Okay. And I drove that thing, and I'm not kidding you. Whoever they would have put on that track, you could even put Mayfield on that track now or anybody else right now, I would have beat them. Really? The car was unbelievable. I had never driven anything like that. It was like driving a slot car. I could drive it as hard as I possibly can and do whatever I wanted.
What made it so good?
I don't know, if we're going to be honest. Right. It was very Euro style, and now I was really driving a Euro style car with my style, and it fit. It had those Ferroni, like all metal machine diffs.
Yes, the traction diffs or something like that.
Yeah, it had all of those in it, and just again special springs that they had made. Like it was one off. Right. And God, I was like done. Where do we? Let's sign this. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure the owner of this company he's got to be in jail or something by now. It was either a money laundering scheme or drugs, or I have no idea.
I think I heard this story. I think I heard it.
Yeah, we went back to his house, and they started loading up suitcases with parts.
Oh yeah.
And just literally just dumping in, like, here's 30 sets of arms, here's 20 shock shafts, just dumping them, not in bags or anything, just dumping them in bags, in the luggage bags. And we negotiated salary, which it was going to be, God, what was it? It was 16 grand for the year, which converted out into something else, you know, with the exchange rate.
Right.
And he handed me $8,000 in cash.
Wow.
For the first half of the year, and I left with $8,000 in cash, a car, and 3 cases full of parts.
And that was for what? Just your personal use, or just?
That was it. Like, hey, these are your parts. Like, this hopefully can get you through the first few months.
You must be like, what the?
Oh yeah, it was a very odd situation the whole time.
All right. So what happened after that? Like, how long did that last?
We came back to the U.S. and immediately after the U.S., like, communication all of a sudden became like none. Like, really hard to get in touch with anybody. And the way it was going to work is, keep track of my expenses and they'll reimburse me. We went to the first race and I never got reimbursed. I had a friend, Mike Kaz, that he paid for like the hotel and stuff. He never got reimbursed. And
that was it.
It just kind of was like I was seeing the writing on the wall, but we're already now a few months into the year. Mm-hmm. And I didn't do very well at the Nitro Challenge because that was the first year that it moved to Phoenix.
Okay.
And I just didn't do well. So it wasn't good. And then Silver State, I actually was killing it at Silver State. I think I was in second in the main, and my throttle servo broke. But my throttle servo broke with like 7 minutes or 8 minutes to go, like nearly at the end of the race. But it broke to where it was like at quarter throttle, and it stuck there.
No way.
And I could make it around the track and do the big double that was in the middle of it perfectly every lap still. And so I just stayed out there and ran and ran and ran. And I battled with Cavallari. And God, I got to even talk to him about this. I battled with him like the last 5 minutes of the race with no control over throttle, just steering the car. And I ended up third. I think I ended up third still at that race. Third, maybe fourth at that one with no throttle servo the last part of the main.
So Seedorf lasted about not too much long after that, I would say.
No, it was pretty much after that. There was no communication. We were getting close to like middle of the year where I was supposed to start getting a second payment, and there was no communication. So
what did you do? What was you like, I got to find another ride?
Yeah, I really was just like, what am I going to do with all of this stuff first that I have? Because no one even knows what this is. And then I was going to have to go find a ride. And I was determined then with this ride let's actually backtrack. Let's not say I was determined. I was kind of getting pressure now from my wife. We got married to find something that was going to pay some bills. Oh yeah,
we all know how that is.
Yeah, and it was a lot of pressure on me to find something, and I was like, okay, I'm literally going to race for whoever will pay me the most. Okay. I will call everybody. I don't care if they make whatever. I will run it, even if it makes the stuff worse.
Really?
And so that was the year I ran for Sen. Mm-hmm. I ran for Panther Tires. I ran for TQ Fuel, who put my even car on the fuel.
I remember that fuel.
I ran Maximizer beadlock rims in Truggy.
I don't remember this.
I ran SH engines.
Hey, Degani still runs SH engines. He gets
contingency. Oh, he's great. And that was actually one of the things. He's one of the nicest guys. Yeah. Henry over at SH is one of the nicest people there is. Mm-hmm. But at the time, his stuff was not the best.
No, I remember Mikey Sharman was running engines. It.
Yeah. But nicest guy. Mm-hmm. Still, I still see when I do see him at the races. One of the first people I go up and hug and talk to. Super nice guy. But yeah, pretty much sold myself out. I was like, I'm gonna race. Whoever makes the worst stuff that's willing to pay the most, I'll race for them.
So you was making bank then, RC bank.
I made good money then. I was making probably about $6,500 a month.
Really? That's good money.
Yeah, pre-tax.
Yeah.
So yeah, like $6,500 a month, and then bonuses for making mains. Even I was very forward on that contract. Like, hey, I'm still gonna get something even if I make mains.
So Was you racing with Smolnik and Gene the Machine at this time?
We were, yeah. I was traveling with Andy and Gene.
Yeah, Gene's a character. I met him last year. We went to the Nationals last year. Nice guy, really nice guy.
For sure.
I think he stopped racing after that. He's threatened to come back now and then. I don't know if he's going to.
Gene the Machine. I'm just ready to start seeing some of his blogs then.
Oh yeah, in the third person.
Posts.
I said, whenever you read a race, because you wrote in Ren JQ for a while, I said, whenever you read a race report, you got to do it like old Gene the Machine in third person.
Exactly.
And he did, too.
Exactly. Send out the release.
So, Sen, how long did that last? Sen's still around. I didn't even know that till I saw. They're doing big on monster trucks now. And
I know I raced for them for at least a year. It might have ended up being a year and a half then, or around a year and a few months, because I signed during the end of the year. I didn't sign like at the January 1st thing. It's kind of typical. But it was at least a year. I know that. So we'll call it a year and a couple months.
Was you able to get any podiums or do anything while you was running for them?
So one of my proudest moments is I put that hunk of junk in the main at the Roar Nats in North Carolina in Charlotte. I got.
Oh, that's the one Taylor James won.
Yeah, the one Taylor James won. Yeah, and I had to actually win by courts getting DQ'd.
No way.
How I got into the main. Yeah.
Awesome. And okay, so you're running the Sen. What are you thinking now? Like, is this been like, I don't know if I'm going to do this for a living? Coming, like, what are you thinking now? You're like, all right, this car isn't the best. I'm making money, but the car isn't good. So I'm not as competitive.
That was literally, I knew that I'm just going to run for whoever's going to pay me until this stops. And then I'm going to go be a teacher. Because that was what I was pretty much done with school for. I had my license to go teach. So whoever I can just, get paid from, great. And if I can get paid while even teaching, sure, it's just going to be extra bucks. And that was really how I looked at it back then. It was just who's going to pay me.
So you did go to AE though, but was that was after Sen, or how did that work out?
So my associated deal was actually supposed to be my last year of racing.
Right.
Because I then went the opposite route, and I had a discussion with my wife at the time that, hey, like, I've ran for the worst of the worst and my results have suffered for this. I want to go out on a bang. The Worlds are in North Carolina, which is a track I do very good at. I want to run the companies I want to run for, even if it means not getting paid. But I just want to be able to have an honest shot at a world championship here before I'm done. And I knew through Richard Saxton that Associated was coming out with their car. And Associated doesn't exactly make junk. Associated makes a lot of good stuff. And ran that car then. We signed with Associated. Just a travel deal. That was it. And it was travel to like 3 or 4 races. Wasn't to a lot. And then I wanted to run the GRP engines.
Which were the money at that time.
Oh, those
they were
things
the best
were
engines.
stellar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they even came almost like in a jewelry box when they came to us. They were just like a little piece of work. And then I went back running for Proline. Actually, you know what? I might not have ran for anybody for tires. I think I might have made it to where I could run anybody. I think that was actually what I did, is where I can run Proline, AKA, or J Concepts at the time, like whatever I wanted to. So I didn't really run it. I don't think I ran a tire company. So think about that one some more, Brad. So I don't think I remember running all different tires.
So that was like your last shebang, 2008 for the World.
Yeah, that was to go out with a bang was the hope, and just that car didn't suit me at all, and I don't think it really necessarily suited anybody.
No,
its
it
first
didn't.
really year, and it was so brittle. I just kept breaking the damn thing. Like I broke it every time I went on the track. I'd break something.
So that was just like, that's it.
Yeah, that was just it. The Worlds came and went. I did awful there. I had like 2 really good runs, and then the rest of all my other qualifiers are garbage. There was so much rain and mud during that race, though, so it was just one of those things where I was like, nope, not meant to be.
I think that was the year that like Bradley didn't make them for the first time in a long time, or whatever Worlds he's been to, he didn't make the A main. I remember because he bumped up quite a few, and then he just missed it.
Yep, I actually remember it, and I remember him watching him, because he did really bad too, and then he moved on to like Sunday, and then he only bumped up like once or something like that. I bumped up a couple times, I remember, and I think I made the Sunday thing, and then I was done. Yeah.
So what was you thinking when you left that? They're like, I'm done with RC altogether.
Yeah, at that point I was actually, I think, like maybe I'll just go back and kind of try doing it for fun. Like I'll hit up the 3 or 4 big races a year, I don't need to get paid because I'll still kind of do it as a hobby and see how good I can do.
Right.
And that was when I went back to Mugen. They took me back.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Pretty
Okay.
open arms. Yeah, they were very open arms about it. Like I said, yeah, no salary, just give me travel to the races that I want to go to, and we'll call it good. And they were stoked by that.
Really? Okay. How long did you do that with them for?
Did that for a couple years.
Okay.
That had to be probably maybe 2000, like 9 and 10 probably. Because I know I went to Motorama at least one more time. I know I did a Nitro, the Nitro Challenge at Phoenix at least once in a Silver State or two. So yeah, it's probably let's say at least 2009 and maybe some of 2010.
Okay. So when did you actually? Okay, I had thought you had left Mugen on bad terms. Like I said, reading on the internet, trying to get information.
No, it's all good. The first time it was fine.
Okay.
The second time when I left, there was some bad blood, and it was funny. Up until very recently, I actually had no idea why.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you say why, or you don't want to say?
That one I'd prefer not to because it's actually it's personal. It's nothing
Okay.
business-wise, racing-wise or anything. It was just a personal kind of, I would say, miscommunication.
Got you.
And I've actually recently talked to the person, and I think we've kind of made amends with it and everything that happened. I think it was
that's
just
good.
more of a misunderstanding.
That's good, man. It's better to clean up those old messes than to let them linger on. I always say.
Absolutely. And I mean, those people were, I consider them kind of family. We traveled around a lot. We spent a lot of time together, and they did always take care of me while I was there. Besides for paycheck wise, if you exclude that in it,
it ain't much
everything
changed.
else was really
Apparently.
good.
It isn't much change on that side, apparently. I don't know these guys' salaries, but I just know it's not as good as some of the other companies. Okay. And nothing against Mugen, because I'm a Mugen guy. Deep down, I keep saying this. I started with a Mugen way back in the day, and I still have a lot of love for Mugen. So when did you finally just say, all right, I'm not going to race anymore, and I don't even know what happened after that. Like when you just said, I'm not going to race. What year was that? And you just gave up. Well, not gave up, but just retired.
It was at that 2009, 10-ish,
Yeah.
right around there. As I've told you with some of my stories with high school sweetheart and I got married, we actually suddenly got divorced in 2009, and it was quite a shock to me.
Right.
And it hit me very hard. I'm very open about it. I went into a pretty deep depression over it, and really didn't know what I was going to do, at all. I didn't know racing-wise, job-wise, personal-wise. It hit me very, very hard. And it took me, 6 months, a year to even kind of figure out what I even want to do. And I really kind of looked at it as eventually I was able to just be like a reset button. What do I want to do? Do I even want to be a teacher? Do I want to race? What do I want to do? All of a sudden, I don't have a house anymore. Spoiler. I don't really have bills anymore. So what do I want to do? And that's when I was like, all right, I don't think I necessarily want to race besides for just knowing that industry and knowing those people. So maybe I will a little bit on the side. But that's actually when I started really pursuing a lot more graphic design and actually teaching graphic design,
Right.
which were two passions of mine.
Yeah, you became a Adobe certified trainer and a Microsoft MC trainer. I wrote down the abbreviation. I should have wrote down what it actually meant. But I remember you saying this way. I don't know if it was on the grid or somewhere where I read this years ago. So where did you end up doing that too? Because didn't you move up to Washington for a little bit as well too?
I did, yeah. I actually became a Microsoft certified trainer, as well as Microsoft certified in about 15 different subject areas. And then I was a Adobe certified educator and Adobe certified expert in Photoshop, Illustrator, Dreamweaver, the whole creative cloud there. And I did that for a company here in Las Vegas called New Horizons, which is a post-secondary, meaning adult, education center, doing a lot of corporate training. I'd go to hotels to do training for their entire accounting staffs or entire marketing staffs. They'd come to us. And it just led into an encounter one day with a executive at Microsoft that offered me a job up at Microsoft in Seattle.
Yeah.
And they basically said, you'd start in 2 weeks. And I talked to then my now current wife, because I did meet somebody else during that time, and we are still very happily married.
Yes.
And told her, do we want to move to Seattle? And it's for a lot of money.
Yeah, there you go.
And should we do this? And we packed our bags out of Vegas. We moved to Seattle and started working at Microsoft for a little while.
Yeah, how long did you live up in Seattle for?
We actually only lived there almost 1 year to the day.
Okay.
I don't necessarily have bad things to say about Seattle, besides for in the summers, it's one of the most beautiful places on the planet.
Right, and then it's either raining or snowing.
And then when it's rainy, it's really rainy, and it's kind of gloomy, and it just didn't fit us.
Right.
Like me being from Las Vegas, my wife now being from Southern California, it didn't fit us. Okay. We just weren't meant for it. And I got let go from Microsoft during one of those big layoffs that they had, because my position was a new position, so the first ones to go are the new positions.
Right. Been there, done that.
Yep. So we got let go, and it was again that, like, well, now what do we do?
What did you end up doing?
I actually got a job in Southern California, working for the same company I worked for in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Doing the same training. So I was back to teaching and training and doing all of that again.
Okay. Now, in this time, when you got back to like SoCal and all that stuff, did you attempt any comebacks in the RC, or did you just like think I'm going to go pull trigger again?
I did once at, God, I think it was the 2011 Nationals, I think, at Thunder Alley, whatever. Yeah. I tried there with a low-C car. They gave me a car to run there and kind of scrounge together some stuff. And it was just epically bad. I mean, I don't even know where I could have placed. Somebody can find that result for me. It was probably like E, F, G, something like that, man. I mean, it was epically bad.
Yeah.
I couldn't drive that car. I was off. Like, it just nothing about it was good.
Yeah. Do you ever get the urge, even now, when like going to DNC and these races? Do you get the urge to drive again?
At those races, not at all. And
Okay.
Again, 100% honestly, like Nitro Challenge, Silver States, and those level races, they just are long and boring, is what they look like for me.
Yeah.
But at a local level, there's been a few times where there's been like, you know what, that class looks fun, or that seems fun, but it quickly goes away, and I'm like, you know what, I'll just go to the kart track instead.
How old are you? 37?
Yep, 37.
So you got 3 more years left to 40 plus, which looks like a lot of fun.
That's what I keep telling everybody, is I got 3 more years and then I'll decide. So I don't know, maybe I'll pick a random race and just show up with no practice or nothing, just like the old days, and just see how awful I am.
Do you ever think back about life and what it would be like if you actually stayed in the industry? What do you think you would be doing if you did stay in it? You'll be 37. I mean, still younger than Drake, because I'm going to be honest, like Drake puts in a lot of work, and he's like supposed to be, logic says he's supposed to be getting slower, and he's not. He's actually still pretty good. He's making mains and stuff like that. I mean, he's not, I don't, you know, I mean, he might surprise somebody and win a big race, but he's still doing good. Where would you see, do you think if you stayed in the industry, do you think you'd still be racing? Would you be working in some sort of other aspect within the industry?
I don't really know. I mean, talking about Drake and that analogy, I mean, my dad told me this saying when I was a kid, and I never understood it until I got older, and then I absolutely understand it and live by it. He always told me effort equals results.
Okay.
Drake puts in some effort.
Yes, he does.
That guy tries hard. Like, he is doing a lot of practice and testing and racing, and he is constantly out there. So that guy gets the results.
Yep.
I was putting in the bare minimum amount of effort and getting, well, minimum results, technically. Yeah. And I don't know if still being in it to this day and through it, if I would have ever thought any differently than I do now. I think I eventually would have just kind of gotten kicked to the side. Like, I'm not going to get any more sponsors. I'm not going to get picked up by anybody. I'm not going to be able to pay any bills. So I think I eventually just kind of would have been dropped to the side out of it anyways, giving my mentality that I had then. Right.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I can see that. It's a very hard industry to work in. I mean, I've only been doing it for 2 years, and it's a lot of work. It's definitely... It has its stresses, I would say that. So, and it has a lot of stress with very, very minimal payout. So,
absolutely. I mean, and again, it's a lot of work, a lot of traveling, a lot of time. I mean, you're just number of hours you're at a track for a big race, it's a lot.
I mean, look at how much these guys are traveling now compared to how it was back in your time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we used to travel, I would say, for the most part. The Sen days, I traveled more just because I was getting paid a lot more and had to be at a lot more races. But Mugen days, I think we were essentially traveling maybe once a month, probably even averaging less than that. Yeah. Maybe like 8 races a year. And that was all I was ever even driving. Those 8 races, that was it. Sometimes a club race or 2 during there, but very rare.
Yeah, I think some of these guys are probably out on the road 3 weekends of the month. Maybe at least 2.
I know what it's like now, though.
Yeah. Oh, it's well. That's a good lead into the present. Now you're doing photography. How did that come about? Was you always into photography throughout life, or was it something that you picked up later on?
Oh, absolutely. I've always been into photography. I felt like it's the only way I can really express myself in like an artistic manner. I can't sing. My handwriting's horrible. I can't write music. Can't draw. I can't paint, but behind a camera, I've always seemed to have that little bit of knack. And I ended up working for a friend of mine that had a company doing something similar to what we did, or what we do now. And when we moved back to California, going back to where we were before, and I was teaching there, I had an idea just one day of you know what? Let's just start our own company doing this, and let's try to do it right.
Yeah.
And got a little bit of funding together to be able to do it, and that's how Mad Moose Media was born. And now we travel about 100 events a year all across the country. Yeah, we're everywhere. We do Supercross, all the amateur Supercross races, all the major amateur motocross races across the country. We do some quarter midget racing. We do some speedway racing, Little League. We do a couple RC races here and there just to kind of do it. We're a little bit of everywhere. So
you just load up that the trailer and head out.
Yeah, we have a couple concession trailers. We have a 30-foot trailer and we have a new 24-foot trailer. It's our kind of pride and joy. I know it seems silly, but our small one is pretty amazing technologically.
Right. That's the one you had at was that the one you had at DNC?
No, that's our big one. That was actually our first one, is the one that's there. Our little one is the one that goes to all the Supercross races. It's actually smaller and serves more people.
Right.
It's pretty cool because all the stuff that we do in the trailer is ours. All the software that we use is owned and created by us. Everything is ours. It's not like we're licensing anybody else's software or products or anything like that. Everything is created by us, so it makes it fun.
Tell everybody what you guys actually do, so when they go to these events.
So we do what's considered event photography for motorsports and action sports events. So we have a crew of photographers that will go out on the track. We'll just assume that's where we're at, and they're going to take pictures of every single rider, racer, in many different aspects. And all of our photographers are professionally trained action sports photographers that usually are very heavily involved in the sport. So they know the good pictures. They know what people want. And then in our trailers, we have these kind of self-service kiosks that allow people to print pictures right there, get pictures sent to your cell phone. We do custom posters. We do all sorts of different things for everybody, but it's mainly for the moms, the dads, the riders, the racers, the sponsors. It's for everybody. Yeah. Because one of the things that's not going out of style is people wanting pictures.
No, not at all. I think they're pretty cool. I was looking at some of your posters and stuff at DNC. I think you've traveled. You had your wife there. I think you have children. I don't think do your kids travel with you to the big, like when you go out of town and stuff, or does your wife? She does.
Okay. Yeah, my wife is she's our head of sales, and she kills it at the events, and she loves doing it. And our daughter, she just turned 8 years old, so she's getting kind of that age now to where she wants to help out more in the trailer. So she'll help sort pictures and do kind of whatever needs to be done. Normally, she just grabs one of our radios and just runs off, though, and plays with friends or people that she sees at the track. But I have no problem with that. Like, growing up at the track and being kind of like that my entire life, I like seeing it to where she's just running around playing with kids and being kind of a track kid.
Yeah, it seems like you're in a good place now. I mean, you're around racing. You're not actually racing, but you're there. I guess I'm pretty sure the business is doing good because you've got multiple trailers and you travel to all these events, so that's great. And and you do it with your family. That's I think that's one of the big things that keeps me. I enjoy working in this industry so far, but I'm able to do it from home and I'm able to be around my family. So I get that. I really do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we do some serious traveling. This is only we're going into our 4th year of being a business, and our goals after the first year was, okay, let's try to double in year 2, which that's a hefty goal for any new business.
Yeah.
And we did. And
Awesome.
then it was to try to double the next year.
Good stuff.
And we
man.
did. And we're trying to do that again this year, which I think we're going to fall a little short of that because that'd be a lofty number. But we're trying to grow this as big as we possibly can.
So where are you going this weekend?
This weekend, we are actually at Fox Raceway, Paula, California,
Right.
for the Loretta Lynn's Regional Qualifier, which
Okay.
Loretta Lynn's being the largest, most prestigious amateur motocross race there is.
Yep.
And this is the West Coast Qualifier for them, so it's a big one for them. And then what do we have? We got a vintage race at Glen Helen the next weekend, a quarter midget nationals, and then we go up to Mammoth for one of our favorite events.
Awesome. Good stuff, man. I'm glad to see that. It's good to see. And you still get to go see some RC races, so that's cool.
Yeah, I still like to, make appearances out at the track, and it's not to, shake hands and kiss babies. It's to go see some of my old friends, like seeing Mick Craddock out there, seeing Richard Saxton, seeing Barry Baker, going and talking to Degani, who, back in the day, me and Degani, I don't think we were necessarily friends back then. He's one of the first people that I talked to now.
Yeah, he told me that you guys had a lot of run-ins. I'm not even going to say what he done to you.
Yeah. We had some run-ins and definitely some disagreements and things that have happened. But, again, time heals wounds, and we've both definitely changed.
RC was rough back then, though. Guys raced, and like it was serious back then, like breaking antennas and all that type of stuff, and getting in fights.
It was definitely a different level. I mean, there was fights breaking out. Yeah. And you don't see anything like that now because I think it's too much, too vanilla. It's a job. It's just a job now.
Yeah. Well, that's good because that leads into my next question because I know you have some opinions about this. Looking from the outside into RC, actually, it's a multifaceted question. What do you think? How has much changed since your time in the industry, and how have things stayed the same since your time?
Well, there's definitely even more big races, or what I say that in quotes, big races. Everybody thinks it's a big race, which then I think led to part of the demise of club racing, because I think club racing is on a big downhill spiral right now.
Yep.
One of the main things I actually see is there's way too many tires. There's way too many tire options in all the classes. And it makes it too difficult for someone just to even go to a track and race when it's just like, hey, I have to have this tire in this compound and this one, as well as this insert with this. We used to have like 3 tires, and most of the times we'd only use the same tire. M2 Crime Fighters. Yep. There we go. We're going to bring those to every race.
They worked everywhere, and you could run them and then use them for practice the next week, but if you was on a budget.
Yeah, it was simpler as well and easier for someone to get into, as well as all the cars now. I'm actually going to steal a term from Tyler Vick. They're jewelry. And that's what everyone kind of thinks of their cars as. They're like jewelry, and they can't club race, also it ruins the car, and then you have to get new this and new that. So they don't club race with it in fear of ruining it, which back then it was just like, an 8-scale car is just meant to beat the hell out of it. So there's a few things. There's stuff that's definitely too long is my main
and that hasn't changed. It probably was
long.
long back in the day, but there's definitely more. What it is back in the day, there wasn't sportsman, there wasn't open. I think you might have had a novice class and then a pro class, but you wanted to get out of that novice class and get into the pro class. There wasn't, man. Like I've been, you didn't have e-truggy and short course truck and. It's just too much classes. Too much classes.
Yeah, I've been a proponent from the beginning. Even when I used to run the Silver State there for a couple of years, there was 2 classes. There was buggy and there's truggy.
There.
That's what you get.
There you go.
And you're going to know where you're at and the best. I hate the multiple classes, and everybody gets a trophy. There's sportsman 40 and over, but you're moderately an expert because you have a 75% sponsorship.
Yeah.
And there's intermediate 40 and over masters legend class. I'm like, what are these?
What do you think about all this sponsorship stuff nowadays? I mean, it's the new. It's not new. It's been going on for years now, and I mean, it's just part of the industry now. everybody just gets sponsored at some point.
Yeah. Everybody is sponsored by somebody, but you're not sponsored by them. You're technically just like another dealer, is the way they're looking at it, because you're still buying it at dealer price or distributor pricing. It's just kind of that demise of the local hobby store that we've seen. Is the more sponsored people you have, the less people that are buying the products at the store. Again, killing the stores and killing the tracks. I don't really know why the need for a sponsorship became such a thing. I mean, yes, everybody wants to save money and get stuff for free. That's a given, but
it's not many people getting stuff for free now. There's not a lot of people getting stuff for free.
Everybody's getting everything at a 75% off deal.
Yeah, some people are.
Well, yeah. But I mean, it's a strange thing to where everybody's got to be sponsored, and you go to a club race and you're 2-wheel stock, and the kid's 9 years old, and he's got a Losi deal. It's like,
it's just kind of, I don't know. I think Joseph wrote a good blog about this when it started. I have to go back and check it out. I mean, it's just part of the game. I, for one, try to give people something as working for JQ Racing. I try to give people a little bit more than just a deal, because I tried to bring the team aspect. That's what I like more than anything. Like how I would feel how I would like to be treated if I was part of a team. So I do that. I just think, I don't know, man. It's people just. I think it creates an air of disillusionment. I guess that's the word I'm looking for, if that's a word. And back in the day, even you back in your day, sending in a resume was odd back then, I would say. But you done it and it worked out. But you also had talent. But I mean, now it's just like, man, I just don't know what to think about it. It's just, you have to do it. Like, if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. I just try to give people something else of value for being a part of JQ Racing. That's what I try to bring.
Absolutely. And I can see that maybe as something that companies would want to do, is almost like a loyalty program. Instead of maybe calling it sponsorship. Leave that to the factory guys and the guys that do this for a job, and make some type of loyalty program, to where you still are helping them out in a way, but they're not sponsored.
Man, they're just people will just go to another deal. They'll go to whoever's going to give them the better deal. It's insane. It's definitely, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. We ain't getting anybody new into the industry. People keep saying, how do we get new people in? Well, I think we need to go hit the demographic that you're taking pictures of, and that's one of my biggest things is that we're definitely not hitting the right demographic. People that are racing motocross, they have disposable income. When they get hurt, they want to do something that's close to motocross. And our 8-scale nitro racing, or just off-road racing period, is the closest thing you can get to that, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. No, one of the main target demographics should have always been and should be amateur motocross, and having races with them. Not necessarily big races, literally just races.
I agree.
Someone like Jimmy Babcock could be doing easily all of these mammoth qualifiers and stuff that we can do, and just be doing a race there. You're going to expose people to that. Yeah. But then you also have to make it an easy entry into the sport. And when you're seeing 25 different classes and all this stuff about it, it doesn't become easy. No. My biggest thing right now that should change is they need to be more spec classes.
Yeah, we had that talk. I don't know how we would do it in nitro, but I definitely think the easiest way to do it is to have a spec tire race.
Correct. That would be the easiest early way into it. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Even but some different classes. I know I was saying that we don't need more classes, but like that. God, isn't it like 7th scale? There's that. Doesn't Losi and I think Traxxas have one? The one that actually has the 5-link suspension in the rear.
Oh, the
trophy truck thing.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The electric, the trophy truck. I don't know the exact name, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that one. I think AMSOIL has one too. But yeah, make those spec. That's it. Just like it is out of the box. That's how you got to run it. Man, you can't change tires and put pin tires on it, because Stadium Truck should have been the class that just exploded. And yes, it kind of did. But the second you let people start changing tires and putting pin tires on those, that class became a joke.
Oh, you mean short course truck?
Short course. That class became a joke at that point. It was cool up until that point. Yeah. And then it became like, cool, it's just a different body. Who cares?
Yeah. I was just having this conversation with my buddy Mike Hill, because I saw the price of a stock motor today. $175, and I was like, "What
Wow.
is this?"
I didn't realize they were even that
And
expensive.
I said to him, "Why?" I mean, because I was like, he doesn't race stock no more, but he used to. It's like he even said, "Wow, I remember when you used to get stock motors for $25."
Yeah.
And
Yep,
he was
$25.
he kind of explained to me why. I was like, you can't get new people. I mean, I get, look, nothing against stock people. They like to tinker. They like to have all that. I get some people into that. Me, if I race 10 scale, I'll be racing mod. Just, it's cheaper, it's easier. Yeah, I don't care about that. But to get a new person to that, and you say, hey, this motor costs $175, but the mod motor costs $85, but the mod motor's faster.
Yeah.
Or Associated had it pretty good. They came out with a four-wheel drive spec kit, ready to race, and a two-wheel drive spec kit, ready to race car. I think if all the 10 scale companies would have come up with something like that and just had a spec class where you had to run the stock electronics, you could change tires, because I get it, tires. I would allow you to change tires. And
Yeah,
springs.
make it a spec tire then
Right.
for the track.
Exactly. But if you would have left that car a spec like that, it would help people. It was cheap. People can get in it. They can race more. They don't have to worry about somebody having a faster motor or a better ESC or anything like that. Perfect. Would have been perfect. But we're not trying to do that. Like, I don't see it. I know the RC2 class, which is the second class of the RCGP class, they have spec tires for each race. So this week, this weekend, whenever each race they have a different spec tire from a different company for that class. The pro guys, they run whatever they want because that's where they exhibit everything. But the for the RC2 classes for the regular guys or whatever. I agree, man. We need to figure out something. We need to market first. Like people's like, this is what people would say. Well, Traxxas and all these companies, they go to these events and they put on a show and all that. Yeah, they put on a show. I don't want to put on a show. We need to put on a race where people can get excited and see. And how to do that? I think you need to put the best in front of them and show that, like, hey, these guys do this for a living. They can, they can do this. A car can whip and scrub and do all that type of stuff. It's very similar to motocross. But yeah, we need to figure out a way that people can do this cheaply and fairly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was funny when I moved back here to Vegas, I looked at 702 to see what they were racing, and I was like, this Euro truck class. I was like, I'd do that. I just had to pull it out of the box, and I got to use it as is. Like, that's it. Like a fun class just to race on a Friday night if I had time to go down there. And then I look at the results, all right, how many people are racing? It's like 7 people racing it. 10 people racing, and I'm like, okay, well, never mind. Like, I want to race against whatever the most of the people are racing, and they're racing like 2-wheel mod. I'm like, oh, never mind. No, I'm good. I don't need to get anything then. I want something that's just going to be easy that I can just go throw down and go race and have fun, and whoever's the best wins. Like, not whoever paid the most or whatever, tinkered the most. No, just best driver wins. So I don't know. I'm all for as spec class and limiting classes as much as possible. Now, do you have to have those unlimited classes? And they actually fit, but I don't know. Make something an easier gateway into people to get into it at all right now, because right now it's from the outside it looks next to impossible to get in.
Yeah, I can see that, and people aren't too friendly. Like I don't know. Like I'm very outgoing about RC because I'm super proud of it, and I like if I'm going through the airport, I talk to people about it, or people are like, hey, what does that T-shirt mean, or whatever, and I sit there and talk to people for hours about RC. I have a question for you. What do you think about the driving nowadays compared to back in your time? I mean, these guys are doing some incredible things with these cars now that, back when I was racing, if you turned the wheels left or right, that was great.
It's
in the
definitely
air.
a whole different level. It's funny because I was talking to some people at the Nitro Challenge about this, and I talk to Tyler Vick still all the time. He's a close friend of mine, and we talk about RC racing and back in the day and now and all that. And we kind of laugh at during an A-main at even a nationals back in like 2004 when I won. Your goal was to not wreck once per pit stop. If you could keep a clean full 7.5 minutes between pit stop, like that was a good 7.5 minutes. Like, all right, we'll try to do it again. But you could almost get away with one crash per pit stop would be kind of where you were at. now they don't crash once in an hour main.
Well, they did crash at DNC, but
yes, but I mean, for the most part, you still watch, and it's like they don't set a wheel wrong for the full hour, full 45 minutes.
Man, it's incredible. The skill that these guys have.
Oh yeah, it's mind blowing how precise it has become, and how different the driving style is to even watch.
Yeah.
Because if I watch from the driver's stand, like I can still kind of see what I would think I would be doing, and everything is very point and go now. Like the cars accelerate and brake really good, but they go around the turns. Actually, to me, it seems slower.
I think that's more the tracks now too. I would say.
It's just like corner speed seems like it's kind of gone away, and everything else is heightened.
Well, I have
again just my opinion from looking at.
No, you're absolutely right. Especially on the U.S. tracks because they're more supercross 180s jumps. Yeah. 180s jumps. Go look at a great race for you to watch is go to RC if you ever get time. Go to RC Racing TV and watch last year's Neo Buggy race at Rendezvous in Spain, and then you'll see corner speed. Like you could
when you go say those Euro tracks, they're always definitely much more rounded out, and they usually have some insane corner speed.
You know, and I think the U.S. tracks are lacking that because trying to get so much jumps and stuff, and so and people just corner speed wins races, man. Yes, jumps are great, but going fast and getting the inside line. It's important. But I mean, now I mean these guys are scrubbing and they're whipping and they're setting up for that next. I like that part of it. That was when I was coming up. You guys weren't doing that back in my time. So.
No. I mean, we had control of the cars in the air. Yeah. I mean, we were good at that. But no, anything like it says now. But it's funny. I will gladly take any one of these kids. I don't care who you want to bring over. You can even give him his current car versus our car back then, and we can go out to Boulder City, where the track looks like the moon. And I have a feeling we'll still stomp them with our old stuff.
Yeah, because it was that track was rough. People were complaining about this year's Silver State track, and it was rough. It was some rough spots there. But if you would have seen the track out in Boulder, just that straightaway, the sandy straightaway that they had one year, which is all sand, and that changed every single time you went there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because, again, I laugh when they talk about, like, oh, the track got slower because it's rough, and the track will be a couple seconds slower over, a 5 or 7 minute run. We're at the Silver State, round 1 of qualifying to the last round of qualifying would be a full lap slower.
Incredible.
I mean, we're talking like the track is out. Well, yeah, it's 5 seconds a lap slower. Like,
amazing.
It's insane. And you watch the cars now because they're so light. Mm-hmm. They just don't handle bumps like our old stuff used to be.
No, those cars were like 8, like. I think one of my cars was almost 10 pounds back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were a full pound heavier. Mm-hmm. And you got to think about how much softer the inserts and the foam that we were using and everything were as well. Like, I think, again, modern car, best driver in the world right now versus old car and one of our old school guys at Boulder City. I think the old guy will stomp him. Be
interesting. Well, then back in the day, also getting your car to finish a race was like part of the I mean, it's still part of the equation now, but I mean, yeah. I mean, cars
now are strong.
Oh yeah, they're stronger. Engines tune better. Everything, servos are better. Everything's just better. That's the equipment. The equipment should get better, just as it should be 10 years from now. So
absolutely, yeah. The servos are so bulletproof. Sometimes you'd come up short on a jump or long on it and be like, "Oh, the throttle servo's gonna break." Yeah. Like, you just never knew what the electronics back then, or crystals even breaking. Before we even had 2.4, you'd land hard and your crystal would break inside the receiver.
I think that's probably – actually, it's one of my questions for you later, but we'll talk about that later. Because we have to do the 10-question, 10-second segment as well.
Go for it.
But I just wanted to ask you a few more questions before we go on to that. In your opinion, who is probably the best 8-scale driver you have seen?
Ever or currently?
Ever.
Ryan Mayfield is pretty insane. I watch stuff he still does, and I'm like, I can't beat him. There was a time where definitely I could beat him, but
Yeah, he's amazing.
I think I just put him. He drives those things, and it's like he's in the car more than anybody else.
I find that Mayfield's ability to make up for mistakes is amazing. He'll make a mistake and be able to just like find speed somewhere else.
Yeah,
so
he just is. He's just fast. That's it. Like, you can't even look at him and describe where he's going fast, but he just does. He seems like he can drive the car harder than people. And I've seen him drive loose tracks, high bite tracks, rough tracks, because Mayfield's been doing this for a very long time as well. So I kind of give him the all-rounder. Like yeah, I'm gonna say that's the best 8-scale driver in the world.
Okay, good stuff. I couldn't argue with that. I have my opinions too. I think he's great. Definitely great. Definitely will go down as one of the greatest ever. What's one of your proudest moments in RC besides winning the 2004 Nats?
Oh, I already told you. Putting that hunk of junk Sen on
there we go.
in the main at the Nationals.
Good stuff. Good stuff, man. Anything else you want to add before we go on to the 10 question, 10 second segment? Like, I mean, I know I have something I forgot to ask you. Hold on, where is it? Hold on. How have things stayed the same in RC since your time?
The races are still too long. Mm-hmm. There are still event promoters that are just trying to make money instead of trying to put on the best race they can, which I can't blame them for that because it's a business and we all have to make money with it. So I don't blame them, but the format, God, the old boring format is still the same. No one's came up with anything new or exciting to try to change it up.
Man, I'm going to send you this link for the RCGP races that they had in the Philippines and that they're going to have in Austria when they do it. And you'll see. It's a little bit different.
I'll check it out.
Heads up qualifying.
It's funny in the getting out of RC, and I talk to Brandon Rohde of Live RC all the time because he does a lot of scoring systems for motocross now as well as supercross. So we see each other all the time. And I've even told him a couple ideas I've had for completely different formats for RC. And I mean entirely different from the practice to the main is entirely different. How it's done, how it's scored, everything. Something different to change it up because it's funny. I can go to a motocross race and a motocross race will have 3,300, 4,000 entries in a weekend.
Really?
And we'll run through that program in 2 days.
Wow, that's amazing.
And you'll be at an RC race that has 150 and it takes 5.
Yeah, we just qualify too much, man.
And that was my main thing about how actually you can change qualifying and get it into actually a couple hour period. And a couple hour, I mean like a 3 hour period.
Change is hard, man. These guys don't want to change. They just want to keep doing. I don't mind when going to races, but 5-day races is long. And yeah, man, it's just long nights. I don't want to be at the track from 6 in the morning until 1 in the evening, 1 in the morning. Nah, that's not fun for me.
No, and actually one of the things that it would be a good thing is what we've learned in motocross races is almost all of them have shutdown times to where it's no matter what race we're on, the race is done at 7 p.m. They'll pick a time, and that's what it is. Yeah. Because you have kids that need to get to bed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's still families, and the same thing. The RC thing could learn from that is, hey, it doesn't matter where we're at. We're stopping at this time because people have to eat dinner, people have to go to bed.
Yeah, man, you gotta have fun. You gotta have fun too. Like it's just not always being at the track.
Yep.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Well, Jason, it was good talking to you, but we do have a 10 question, 10 second segment that I would like to answer some questions. You have to answer these as fast as you can, or you could take some time. I like to take some time and explain them as well. So, and answer them as honestly as possible.
Now I'll just blurt out the first thing that comes to my mind instead.
There you go. All right.
Go for the whole shot.
Number 1, what is the single biggest and best thing to happen to RC since you have been out?
Since I've been out? Mm-hmm. Oh, that might not be 10 seconds. Let's pass on that one for now. I'm going to have to rethink that one. Best thing since being out.
Yeah. Number 2, your favorite form of racing outside of RC?
Oh, Supercross.
Okay. Number 3, I know you're not a gas truck guy, but does gas truck make you faster?
I would say back then, yes. Now, no.
Okay. Number 4, can RC be bigger?
No.
You don't think it can go like bigger than what it is now?
I actually think it might go the opposite, and not that I hope in this in any reason, but I think it actually might have reached its peak a couple years ago, and we're going to see a big downward spiral for a little while. And again, not that I hope that in any means. I just think it's a bubble that's going to kind of have to burst before it can regrow from that again.
Got you. Number 5. What is the best track you've ever been at? Ever raced at?
Sweden for the Worlds.
Number 6. Your biggest rival in RC was?
Ryan Cavallari.
Really? Okay.
It was a personal thing. I just didn't like him at all. Didn't like his attitude.
Are you guys friends now?
Yeah, I would say we're at least acquaintances now.
Okay.
I mean, there's definitely no beefs or anything like that anymore. I don't have any issues with him now. He's married. He has a kid.
Yeah.
And, good for him. Like, again, we've all became adults. It's funny.
I think he's going to go down as the greatest RC racer, one of the greatest ever, I think. If he can get if he transitions over to on-road, which I think he might later on in his career, yeah, I think because he's pretty good at it. I think he's one of the most talented. He can touch anything with a control and go fast in it.
Oh, yeah. He, for an all-round driver, he's pretty stellar because his on-road, he's amazing at on-road, off-road, 10 scale. Yeah, the skill and talent-wise, the guy's unbelievable.
Okay. I've lost count, but I guess I'm on number 7 now. Chad Bradley is?
I'm going to go with silence in there. I don't know. I don't know him anymore.
Okay. Back in your day, though.
Oh, back in my day? Chad Bradley is a head case.
He took this stuff very seriously, dude.
He did. Yeah. He had some interesting theories and definitely ideas that we'd go to. But no, he's somebody I wish I still remained friends with him. And I've kind of tried reaching out to him a few times. And I just kind of get like one-word responses and nothing really back. Like, I don't think there's any ill feelings between the two of us, but I think he's just kind of living his own life up there in NorCal. And I believe he has a kid now, I again believe. And
he works for A-Main and stuff.
Yeah, works for A-Main. Like, good for him. I think that's awesome that he has something steady and, hopefully everything's good with him.
Okay. Number 8, your favorite country you have visited due to RC?
Spain, actually. Actually, no, I'm not going to go with Spain. God, no, definitely not going with Spain. Spain was not. Uruguay was cool. I'll go with Uruguay.
Yeah, I would like to go there too. I have a good friend on there. His name Adrian. We talk quite a lot. He nice guy. They have some nice tracks down there too. Now they still have Tico, which is in Punta de Este. It's all brick. It's brick.
Really?
Yeah, and AstroTurf.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. It's super.
Yeah, Uruguay was cool. And God, we lived like kings down there because the exchange rate was just silly. It was like we had like Monopoly money. We were just throwing it around to anything.
Okay. Number 9. I'm lost count here. So now I asked you who was your biggest rival. Who was your driver that you had the biggest beef with?
The biggest beef was probably with. We're going to split that. Probably, again, me and Dagani just didn't necessarily get along. I don't know if we really had a lot of issues with each other, but we had a few beefs. Probably with Tebow, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah. I about strangled him one time.
No way. You used to get into it with everybody then. Wow. Back then, it was so much different, man. Guys don't understand, man. It was different, man. Guys raced rough. So why did you almost strangle Tebow? What did he do to you?
He was pretty young at the time, too, so I even kind of feel pretty bad about it. He probably wasn't more than, like, 14, 15. I don't think he was even 16. I definitely wasn't 16. I was at the Silver State, and I was in second hunting down the leader. And the leader was Billy Easton. It was the year that Billy won. And Jared and Billy both ran for Thunder Tiger, and I was lapping Jared for the who knows what time, and he just blatantly took me out, and it broke the shock shaft because those used to break all the time back in the day.
Team orders, dude. Team orders.
And I got so mad that I told them, I was like, put another shock on there, and I had them put another shock on there just so I could just go roll around the track wait till we were on the straightaway, and just never, ever lift and just hit him as hard as I usually could. And I did, and I actually sent his car past the end of the straightaway. There used to be a couch where a lot of the locals would sit, and sent his car down there, like down towards the train tracks. And then after the main, I remember I grabbed him by the throat, and I was like, if you ever do some shit like that again, I will. Who knows what I even said at the time.
Oh, man. It was rough back then, man. Just listen to the old school stories. Just rough. That's rough. All right. I have 2 more questions, and I want to try and revisit the one that you skipped. Who's your favorite motocross rider?
Ricky Carmichael's up there, just because that dude would work harder than literally anybody else to beat them. I don't think he was naturally the fastest. So it's going to be either Ricky or McGrath, just because how can you not love McGrath?
Yeah, I was listening. I listened to Steve Mathis, and they were talking about like comparing James Bubba Stewart, Carmichael, and McGrath. And they're like, man, McGrath probably didn't even really train back in the day, you know? And Carmichael obviously trained a lot. I'm not saying that Bubba didn't train a lot, but McGrath and Bubba were 2 naturally talented, fast guys. Like Carmichael had to work his ass off, man.
Absolutely. There's only 2 jerseys that I own for any sports, and I have a McGrath jersey that's a No Fear jersey. He wore it at Detroit, and I have a Travis Pastrana jersey. So I don't know. I guess maybe McGrath is my answer. Plus, he actually gets pictures from us. We see him every year at Mammoth, and he always comes over to get some pictures from us. So I guess I got to be partial to Jeremy.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna ask one favor when I'm finished this podcast. But what's your favorite? Being as you go to a lot of motocross events, what's your favorite event?
Mammoth. The Mammoth Mountain Motocross is one of the best events, not even motocross, that I've ever been, period. It is an unbelievable event that they first put on because they only get the track facility for 2 weeks. So it's actually a lake. It's underwater the entire time, the rest of the year. They pump out all the water into a reservoir to hold this race for 10 days, and then they pump the water back in.
Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
and
that's incredible.
It's a track that's been around for what are we at, like the 53rd year, and the track has essentially never really changed much.
Interesting. I never knew that.
Yeah, it's a cool race, and everybody goes to the village every night because you have to be off the mountain by 5 p.m. So you still have your whole night. So everybody goes to the village. You're sitting next to Troy Lee and sitting next to people that are racing while you're at dinner.
Awesome. That's what it's supposed to be about, man. The one question that you skipped out on, what's the single biggest and best thing to happen to RC, period? Like since your time and in the time now, we'll just make it easier for you.
The best thing, in all honesty, if we're talking about like technology changes, was when they went to lipo and brushless. That changed everything. Okay. I mean, that kind of even was like the killer for nitro because it made it so easy to get into electric. So that might be the best. Honestly, the best technological thing. I
say 2.4 because now you don't have to deal with crystals and all that stuff. But
you know what? That's a pretty good one. But God, I'm a weird one with that. I swear I'm the only psycho that likes a crystal better because I think I have a better feel for it when it was analog, or I think it was analog. I could sound really stupid right now. Somebody could correct me. But I always thought I had a better radio feel than when I switched to 2.4. But when I was using 2.4, that was the very beginning of it, so it could be light years better than when I was using it then.
Yeah, I have my buddy. He was big into planes. He was like on a national level pattern, and he was just telling me like when he switched over to like racing RC cars, he couldn't believe how slow the RC radios were compared to airplane radios back then.
Really?
Yeah. And
so maybe I was onto something. I don't know. I never liked the feel of them, and especially growing up, always having that antenna out. Like without an antenna, it still just feels weird. I like an antenna on the car, and I like an antenna on the radio.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Well, I appreciate you answering those questions. We got interrupted a little bit, but that's all right. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. Is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out before we finish this?
There's probably a lot of people I could thank. I mean, I think I've thanked them over the times. All the original sponsors and the people that helped me out. I mean, I was very grateful of the opportunities I was given. And we were even, again, anybody I badmouthed or anything, there's no ill feelings towards most of these companies. I still see them and consider certain people friends. But most of all, I think I have to thank my 2 wives. My ex-wife, because doing what she did gave me the life that I have now.
Mm-hmm.
And my current wife, I mean, we have a beautiful 8-year-old daughter that, in all honesty, just got like her first RC car this year, and she bashes around the motocross track with it and loves it.
That's great, man.
And for letting me pursue my dreams with starting this business. And who knows what the next step will be.
What's your business? Do you have a website and all that stuff so people can go check it out?
Sure. It's madmoose.media.
Mm-hmm.
And we're on all the major social media networks. You can always say it's hashtag madmoose or hashtag madmoosemedia.
Mm-hmm.
We're very primarily focused on a lot of motocross stuff. We do a lot of other events as well, but we do all the major amateur motocross races and the amateur supercross. And if you're ever at any of those and you see somebody walking around in bright fluorescent yellow, pretty much from head to toe, it's more than likely me or one of my photographers. So you're more than welcome to come over and BS about the old times or anything else that.
Well, I hope you come back once in a while, 40 plus, just to have fun. I'm trying to get Quartz to come back. I'm trying to get Quartz on this podcast. He says I'm retired. I love the banter, man. I love it. The 40 plus banter. It's just so awesome because that's how it was back in the day, you know, talk a lot of crap and then go on the track and race. So I hope you do come back. I need one little favor from you because I know you're friends with Tony Berluti. Mm-hmm. He's also, I'm a Steve Mathis Pulp MX podcast fan. Yep. I really want like Steve Mathis, like you're listening to the No Name, this is Steve Mathis, you're listening to the No Name RC podcast because like he's been a big influence on my podcasting. So, you know, a lot of this people may say, oh, it sounds very similar to Pulp MX. That's because I really like how Pulp MX has started out. It's one of the first non-RC podcasts I started listening to. I don't know if that's even possible, but I would one day. I'd like to get like one of these motocross guys that race RC on this podcast to sit off and talk with him. I think it'd be cool.
We can arrange that. I mean, I do know most of them fairly well enough. We can talk about Steve. I have Steve's phone number, so I might be able to connect you guys.
I think he's so awesome. I think his podcast is awesome. I know Moogie races or used to race. I know Tomac used to race JQ cars. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 7 Deuce races. Adam Entignap, he races RC stuff all the time. Villapoto races. We have a kid that we sponsor, B-Ray. He is all into RC stuff. I have to keep telling him no, but we help him out a bunch.
He keeps telling him no.
Man. He keeps wanting to race RC stuff. I'm like, no, you're not.
We're missing out on that, man. I honestly, I know RCGP actually wants to do a race alongside of a motocross event. I don't know if it's going to happen this year. It might happen next year, but that's one of their plans. So
yeah, I'm trying to help out as much as I can with that. It's the problem with motocross seems to be at any industry is promoters are the hardest people to get in touch with. You basically have to hunt them down and get them face to face to try to get everything done. So
cool.
I'll see if we can help out in any ways we possibly can to cross promote. I'm all for it.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate your time. I'm gonna be in your ear if I can get that Steve Mathis voice note or somebody. Or I like to get one of them MX guys on her. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Like I'm glad I got to meet you because like you was one of the guys that I actually looked up to when I was racing. Even though you're a little younger than me, but you was one of those guys. You, Bradley. Like when you guys were on it, man, you were the guys I was reading about in the magazines and looking, reading about on Starting Grid and all that stuff. So it's really cool.
Oh, I know. Especially when you talk about Starting Grid. That was the good old days of a lot of shit talking.
Oh, I know. Hey, I don't care what anybody says. Anybody that was into the Starting Grid, because Joseph was big on that. A lot of people's like, oh, Joseph was opinionated back then. But if you ever read any of Virgil's Walmart stories back then, they were so epically funny. It was a great forum. That was maybe before Facebook, before you can just hit up any pro, have what you want. It was good times, man.
Oh, cool. Absolutely. Yeah, that was definitely the heyday of going on there. And then the people that would refuse to go on there just because it was all negativity. Like you'd go to a race and you get back on there the next time, people just telling you how much it sucked. I know.
People were savage, man.
Oh yeah, it was great though. I look back on it, I'm like, it was great. That's how it should be.
It is, man. Hey, people gotta, You know, I told a friend today, I was like, man, if you're not having fun doing this, then you shouldn't be doing it. Like, and I say that all the time. If you're not having fun, don't make sense doing it. Because that's what we're supposed to be doing here at the end of the day. Having fun.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's how I take it even with my job. That's where it got to when I was teaching and stuff. It was like I was dreading going to work every day. I was dreading what I was doing. I was like, let's do something that's fun. And now it's like, yeah, I get to travel around with my family doing something I love with the sports I love.
That's awesome,
and it
man.
pays all my bills. So I don't know if it can get much better than that.
Not much, man. Not much. Not unless it makes you a millionaire. But even then, you're happy. That's all you need.
Nah, we're working on that.
Good stuff. All right, man. Thank you for your time. I greatly appreciate it. And we'll stay in touch. We'll see each other. All right. Bye-bye.
Sounds good, bud.
You are entering the Tekno RC Grassroots Racer Spotlight. The part of the podcast that gives the listeners a platform to talk about RC. Brought to you by Tekno RC. Tekno RC. Tekno RC is a premium manufacturer specializing in 8th and 10th scale high-performance off-road RC buggies and trucks. Visit www.teknorc.com for a complete catalog of their products.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Tekno RC Grassroots Racer Spotlight. This is the segment of the podcast dedicated to all the listeners out there that are working Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, 5 to 9, or Monday to Saturday, racing on the weekends, club racing, having fun, spending money, burning nitro, burning tires, or burning lipos, burning tires, and just the guys out there that make this hobby, make this sport great. This is your segment. This is your time to shine. This is your platform to say what you want to say. Tell us what you're doing, how much you love RC, things you want to see change, things that piss you off, something that happened this weekend that you liked. Just let us know. This is your platform to talk, and we thank you for all the support. Thank you for Tekno for coming on and supporting this this part of the podcast. This week, our guest coming all the way from down under is Mr. Tyson Walsh from Australia. What's up, Tyson? How are you?
Hey, Keenan. How you going, man?
I'm good, man. Just chilling out here in the DR, recording some segments, This is our second attempt at this because we tried it yesterday, but the audio wasn't too good. So good to have you back on. So what's up, Tyson? What you up to this weekend? You going racing this weekend?
No racing this weekend, but definitely plenty of practice. So yeah, I'm actually going to a race in Indonesia next month in July. So
oh yeah,
just practicing as much as I can before that race.
Sweet. So tell us, Tyson, how did you get into RC, man, and what do you like about it so much?
How did I get into RC?
Yeah, how did you get into it?
Well, pretty much, I moved to Kalgoorlie when I was 18, I think. And, well, actually, before then I was racing motocross.
Mm-hmm.
Had a big crash. Really wrecked my ankle real bad. And, I was pretty lucky to get out of that the way I did. And, then I really wanted to race. I love, motors and sports involving engines and the dirt, motocross, speedway, anything like that. And, so start racing motocross. Couldn't do that seriously anymore, so I was kind of just finding other things to do. And then come across RC when I moved to Kalgoorlie. I was 18, and I had a small club, very small, probably only a handful of people, and kind of got going with that. And then just went down one day. I had a HPI Savage monster truck. Just turned up with that and this little track, and a few guys were running around, and that's where it all started, really. Yeah.
Question: coming from motocross and doing RC, did you find it very similar? Like the physics of it and whatnot?
Yeah, definitely. Some things are very similar, and then other things not so much. I think jumping there's some there's a lot of similarities there that in the jumps, that the way he moved the car and sort of, I think, there's definitely some similarities, that's for sure.
Okay. So you're in...
I mean, you look, there's a lot of guys, I think, like Bornhorst, Tebow, there's a bunch of guys that sort of come from motocross, I guess, and they, I guess they use some of those skills while they're racing, and still, with RC and stuff they learnt from motocross might relate to RC a fair bit too. So
yeah, I think Bornhorst is a great example because he was apparently really fast in motocross, had a really bad accident, and then had to force, like when he was young, had to drive. He got into RC car racing, and he's excelled really fast in a short amount of time. So I think it definitely helps. So one thing I do like about Australia is they follow the club culture of RC. Like there's lots of clubs, they get together, they work on the track. It's not really all about profit. It's more about coming together and racing. What is your club called there?
My club in Kalgoorlie, where I live, is called Goldfields Radio Control Model Car Club, or GRC MTC for short. But we just have a club there, just like most of the other clubs here in Australia, ran by 100% volunteers that just volunteer all their time and put all the work in for the love of the sport, really. And we all work together and put on some really good races around the country, so it's good.
Yeah, and you guys had the Worlds last year up there at Morb C, John Dawes and those guys.
Yeah, those guys did an awesome job in Perth for the Worlds. Probably the best race I've ever been to in Australia for sure. Obviously, being a Worlds, everything's top notch and the event's well run, and it was amazing to be there. Great experience, that's for sure.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. I enjoyed the coverage and it looked great. And you just recently came back from Philippines. You've done the Philippine Masters last year and you just did RCGP. How did you like that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, the Philippines is always good fun. It's definitely up there with one of the most fun races that I do, or that I've been doing. Yeah, last year was the first time I've been overseas, actually. Went with the Dexters to the Philippines last year for the race, and then I thought, I've seen this GP thing, our RCGP race coming up, and that was going to be the first round, so I was like, definitely going to that one, and it was awesome. I mean, I think it's fair to say that it wasn't perfect, and then, it's never going to be perfect on the first event, so I think they are tweaking things to make the race better and all that. So, but no, definitely for the first race of the series, it was awesome. Really, really good. I probably didn't realise it so much because I was there at the event watching it live, and I was actually there myself. So, the last round in Austria, I was online watching it, so I probably got more of an idea on how good the coverage was at that race, because I was watching pretty much every race, cheering for Kyle. So he did well, except when he flamed out on the Sunday, but he had a good Saturday. Yeah, that sucked. That was bad. But Saturday he was flying, man. He finished second, and everything was going really well for him. Yeah, good stuff. And the Dexters are good too, man. They're fast and up and coming young racers, man. They just traveled to the DXR race. They did really well there. I got to get them on here and have them on for the Future of RC segment, I think. Yeah, definitely, man. You should do that. That'd be great to have a chat to. And like you say, Aaron and Ben and their dad Tom, they've been getting into a fair bit of racing over the last few years, and the DXR race they did real well. I think they were really happy with their results, and Aaron did well at the Worlds too. I think he was in the just shy of the semis, I think. But either way, he did really good. Yeah, good family man. get them on, man. Yeah, you have to get them on. They're really friendly people, and yeah, I'm sure they'd be keen to have a chat.
Yeah, I've already reached out. I've reached out to them. Just as now, it's just about making time to do it. So very.
Yeah, it's tricky because I guess the time difference too. So
yeah, it's not that bad.
You have to get onto that, Keenan.
Yeah, no worries. So tell us, man, what do you like most about RC?
Things I like most about it, probably the first thing is it's like super safe. You're not going to get hurt doing it. You can do it like 100% flat out. You're not going to hurt yourself, so that's cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can hurt yourself out there turn march, and you can get hit in the head by a car. You can stuff like that.
Yeah,
but I know what you mean.
So. I get. But yeah, generally it's pretty safe, and yeah, most of the people are pretty good, pretty helpful, and yeah, I think it's just a good sport. You can do it, you know. You don't have to be a certain age, or you don't peak at a certain age. I don't believe it's more mentally in your mind than anything. So yeah, I think that's the coolest thing about it.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's good stuff. What's your favorite class to race?
Probably. Well, I really only race 1/8 off road, so yeah, that's my favourite. I like the nitro engines and the dirt tracks. So yeah, that's what I love doing, man. I like truggy. I probably like truggy more than most other people. I think truggy's a lot of fun, easy to drive, and yeah, just have fun with it. So
truggy's fun, man. Truggy's fun, but you're no slouch. You do pretty good in both classes. I've seen some of your results.
Yeah, I had like my best truggy race this year, actually. Finished second of the state title, so that was a pretty good result for me anyway. And yeah, it was good fun.
You mentioned, I know we've talked before, and you mentioned that your first time traveling was to Philippines last year, and you kind of got the bug. So what other races have you traveled to?
So last year, went like I said, went with the Dexters to the Philippine Masters. Then after that, because that year, also last year being a Worlds year, I was kind of keen to put in a fair bit of work for the Worlds and stuff. So I went to, a few of us guys from Western Australia went to Kuala Lumpur for a race there in Malaysia. It's called the Asia Fever.
Yes.
So we went there for that race. It was me, Josh Payne, and Dave and Harry Sims. Oh, Ben Panic went, and Zach Ryan as well. So there was a few of us Aussie guys there, and some fast Asian races as well. Yeah, that was a good race. And then after that one, my buddy in South Korea, Kevin, he hit me up about a race in August that year in South Korea and said I should come. And yeah, I went to that one. Yeah, I can't really remember how to say the name of that race, but yeah, it was pretty cool. I met Ryan Lutz there as well, so that was really awesome, actually.
Yeah, Lutz is a great guy, man.
With them guys. Yeah, he's super nice and very knowledgeable person, that's for sure. So yeah, I learned a lot last year traveling and doing them races for sure.
We're in. What's the race and track you're going to in Indonesia?
It's in Pontianak, which is it is on the west coast of Borneo. So yeah, a guy Willie, he runs the track there. I've just been talking to him a fair bit about about the event and sort of how they're going to run it and stuff. So yeah, just it's actually a controlled tyre race, which I think is cool. They did that in the Philippines as well, which seems to be, I mean, for me, just going there, you know, obviously we're not all pro drivers, and I think that for us guys, I just think it's easier with the tyres, you know, we don't have to pack a bunch of tyres to races. Just keeps it more simple too. Everyone's on the same tyre, and then you just work on your car, you know. Yeah. So yeah.
What's the spec tyre at this race you're going to?
Off the top of my head, I think it's a sweep tyre, but I can't remember the pattern. I've got to, I really need to work this stuff out. But yeah, it's probably, I'm guessing it's probably like a blockade or impact style. Same as the Philippines. That's what I'd imagine it to be. Something like that, pretty basic.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I am all for spec tire racing. All for it. All for it. So this is one thing, like, I didn't realize that Australia is so big. Where's Kyle McBride? You're on the West Coast, so where's Kyle McBride?
He's pretty much dead opposite me
In the east.
in Australia. So, yeah, like sort of northeast in Queensland.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, pretty
Australia's
much.
so big, man. I didn't realize it was so big. And then you have like the middle of Australia, where I'm pretty sure the Thylacine is there, if people are going to go find it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about that before. It's like
the Tasmanian.
tiger.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where they're going to find this whole group of Thylacines and whatnot there. So.
If it exists, and you think that's where it will be, maybe Alice Springs, somewhere there, right in the centre of Australia.
I'm sure there's some parts of Australia that people haven't even been to. Like,
Well, probably. It's pretty big, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty isolated, eh? Like, you'd
Yeah.
be surprised. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
very isolated through the middle.
yeah. All right, cool. The one thing I want to do if I ever come to Australia is go go cage diving with great white sharks. Have you ever seen any great white sharks?
I thought you were going to say drink beer, but
I could do
great
that.
whites would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I can drink beer too. I'll drink beer before I get in the cage, and I'll probably need beer after I get out of the cage.
Yeah, you might need like a few beers before you do that, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure. How about kangaroos? You see kangaroos a lot?
Oh man, kangaroos are everywhere. Like when I live out sort of, I'm not in a real big city or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like 6 hours drive from Perth, like to the east inland. So yeah, when I drive on the highway to Perth a fair bit, obviously I got to fly to Perth to go overseas to catch those flights. So yeah, out on the road in the country, there's roos everywhere, man. Like sometimes you got to be careful not to hit roos in your car and stuff because they're just jumping everywhere all over the road.
I guess it's like deer in America. Like you have to watch out for deer. You guys got to watch out for kangaroos. You know?
Yeah, true. Yeah, that sounds very similar. Yeah.
There's
yeah,
marsupials, I tell you.
Yeah.
And for people that don't know, the Thylacine is a marsupial too. All right. So, tell me something you'd like to see change in RC.
Changes. Good question. Probably just. Excuse me. I think what RCGP are doing, that's pretty good. After watching the racing in Austria and watching that online, I think it's probably like the best coverage that I've seen of a race.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very clean and well put together. All the scoring, the live scoring on the screen there, and just everything's just like it's next level really. So yeah, that was cool, and I think that's the way it needs to go. Like, I know these guys are copped so much shit over this race that they're trying to put together, but honestly, man, if you look at the quality of the other races around the world, this is probably the best coverage that I've seen.
Yeah,
that's just opinion, and I think if they can keep running this series for the pro drivers, it's the best thing for them because they get the exposure and it's just it's a much more professional look for our sport as well, and more exposure. I think it's good. Hopefully we can just get the the viewers involved and it'd be good to see sport grow and be a bit more common amongst the other sports. I think it's going to be pretty tough to do that, but I really do hope it starts to happen for sure. Yeah,
nothing's easy, and the guys at RC Racing TV, Matt, Nick, they do a great job just covering all the EFRA events. I believe they get contracted to do all the Euro events in Europe, and I've been watching their coverage for years now, and it's really good. It's by far the best coverage I've seen in RC. Hearing Nick makes it exciting as well. He's a great commentator.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I think I don't know. RCGP just seems like there's more people involved. I mean, you probably know a bit more about that side of it than what I do, but it just seems like there's more going into this race, and everyone's working together and putting in a bit more work than just the standard race, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Seems to be a real big push, and there's a lot of ideas coming in, and they're doing different things, and I just think it's a good way forward. As much as some people don't like it, I think it's a good way for the sport to keep going. Be more professional.
Yeah, well, people don't like change, Tyson, and they don't like to.
It's true.
Sometimes you have to just do it. So that's how it looks. We got to do something because we need to bring new people in. We need to try and get some outside of the industry money into RC and just grow it. Because I think it's cool. I think it's great what we do. And if all these different type of sports can get on, I'm not saying we have to get on television, but like on Red Bull TV and Monster Energy TV, we can get on there too. We just have to make a viable product to put on there. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is a bucket list race for you that you would like to go to?
Bucket list. I think it would have to be America, like a race in the US. Sort of been saying that I'm going to go to DNC one year, but just haven't got there yet. So maybe DNC, but I'd like to go there and, like, obviously for a few weeks, make the trip worthwhile and go to a few different tracks probably.
Yeah, you should.
Would be
right there in SoCal. You got Thunder Alley, you got Revelation, you got Wild West, you got you could go visit OCRC. I know you're not into 10 scale, but it's great. California is just a great state. You got Santa Barbara, which is about 2 hours away. You got the other track. Oh, I can't remember the name, but we was there before DNC. Like, go out there for a week before, so you got a weekend, and you could probably get a race in that weekend too, and just have fun, man. I know that's what we guys do when we go there. So that's I enjoy DNC, but I enjoy the week before DNC as well. So.
Yeah, it sounds like, a lot of the guys that race DNC, they sort of spend, a fair bunch of time practicing before that actual race around that area. So, yeah, that'd be pretty cool, actually, just getting around, doing a bit of practice and seeing some different tracks over there. I think that'd be pretty awesome.
Sweet. So, my final question to you is, who is your favorite driver or driver that you like to see do well?
Driver I like to see do well, definitely Kyle McBride, I think. That's an obvious one. Always cheering for Kyle. Favourite driver, probably, I guess, Kyle is one of my favourite guys. He's a good representative for Australia, I would say. And probably, I like Ryan Lutz. I met Ryan and hung out with him a little bit at that race in Korea last year, and he's a really nice guy and very, very helpful guy at the track. But yeah, there's a lot of the pro guys. They're not. I think some people get a little bit intimidated by the pro guys, and maybe they get a bit sort of nervous to approach them or whatever. But honestly, once you go and have a chat to them, they're just they're just like
guys.
Any other person, really. They're not anything scary. So I think for people that are at big races, with these pro drivers, don't be shy. Just go say hello, and if you got questions, go and ask them. Don't be scared.
For sure.
I was a bit nervous at the start, like, when you start to chat to these guys, you see them on the internet and you kind of think it's a big deal, but honestly, just go and have a chat to them, and they'll help you out.
Yeah, man.
They
put their pants on one leg at a time, just like all of us. Well, some of us do
exactly.
2 times.
Cool. And you know what? When I first met JQ last year at the Philippines race, he's
JQ.
It's crazy, man. Like, I actually didn't like that guy at all until I went and met him, and he's not, like, when you speak to him in person, he's a total different sort of guy than what you see on Facebook. I think if you just confiscated his phone or whatever and he could not use Facebook anymore, then maybe people would think differently of him. I don't know, because he's different in person.
Yeah, he is. But if he wasn't, if he wasn't JQ, nobody would know who he is. He's actually calmed down quite a lot. But that's until he gets bored, when he doesn't have nothing to do.
To do that, did you? You've calmed him down. Has that been like?
No, I've tried to, but it doesn't work all the time. Usually, but he's been calm. He's been pretty calm. Usually, when he has nothing to do and he's bored, that's his drug of choice, is trolling people on Facebook. But he's actually a really good guy. He helps people out. I've seen him do it countless times. I've seen people have the exact same opinion of him until they meet him, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, he's not bad." So I get it.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. To be honest with you, man, I was never a huge fan. Then met him, and I'm like, "Oh, this dude's actually alright, eh?"
Yeah, good stuff. All right, Tyson. Well, do you have anybody you'd like to shout out to and say thanks to before we sign off here?
Well, actually, I'll just say thanks to Ben. Been helping me out. He's a distributor now for Agama in Australia. So
Ben Sterling, yeah,
helping us out for this year, and all the people that help us out. And thanks to you, man, for having us on the show. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
To be on, and you're doing a good job. So
no,
good
thank
on
you. I can't do it. It can't be done without the people that support the podcast and listen. So I thank all of you guys. This is kind of how I'm trying to give back to the guys who listen to the podcast. Give them something to, because I always wanted to come on the other podcasts, and I know it's difficult because I wanted to say something. So I just made my own so I could talk about what I want to talk about.
Yeah, you've done a good job, eh? I enjoy the podcast. Been listening since the start, so it's good.
I appreciate it, man.
Do while I'm at work, man. Keep the days going quick.
yeah. I'm sure you do 12-hour shifts at your job.
Yeah. So I work in mining, and it's 12-hour shifts, so the days can be long. So
I know all about those 12-hour shifts, dude. All about them.
Yeah. Yeah, you've done it before.
Oh, yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on the Tekno RC Grassroots Racer Spotlight. Have fun there in Australia, and keep your eyes open for that Thylacine, man. You just might see him.
I'll let you know if I find it, okay?
All right, man. Good stuff.
All right, Keenan. Yeah, cheers, man.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Have a good one.
You too. So, everybody, that concludes our podcast for this week, episode 32 with Jason Ashton. There will be no JQ Racing rant this week. We really couldn't come up with anything to rant about. I think we ranted enough in the last podcast, so maybe we're taking a little break this week. But I'm sure there's some things out there that you, the listeners, want to rant about. So if you do, shoot me a message, and we'll talk about it. We'll investigate it. And we will talk about it. So shoot me a PM on the No Name RC Podcast Facebook page, or privately to my Facebook page, Keenan K. White. So I want to thank you guys all for tuning in and the continued support. To reach 50K, we couldn't have done that. Super proud of that. Super happy about that. 32 episodes. Road to 100K. Can we do it by the end of the year? I don't know. It's going to be difficult. But if we can do it with the support of you guys, if you keep liking, keep sharing, enjoy the content that we're bringing to you guys, because we enjoy bringing it to you. Keep on supporting us, man. We appreciate it. I know I definitely appreciate it. I try to talk to every person that sends me a message about the podcast. So if you guys would have anything to say, just want to talk RC, shoot me a message. I like talking to new people, meeting new people as well, because like I always say, the one common denominator that we all share is our passion for this crazy hobby / industry / scale motorsports, sports, RC car thing. Is we all share that same passion to go out there and play in the dirt, play on road, whatever, just doing RC things, because I love everything that's RC. I think I need to race some RC sailboats. That's fun too. Actually, I would have to learn how to sail. So thank you to all the patrons that go the extra mile. You go to patreon.com/thequagrain. Those that support, that's greatly appreciated. You guys get the early release on the podcasts. I will be recording a few this week, so you will get another one next Monday. Hopefully, if Joseph uploads it, because I don't upload those things, Joseph does. Thank you to all of our sponsors: Assault RC, Tekno RC, BK Servos, Bipolar Designs, and of course, JQ Racing USA or JQ Racing Worldwide. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Please, people, show them some love, and you help show the No Name RC podcast some love as well. We do have a new sponsor to announce. I think we'll announce that next week. We are still actively looking for anybody that wants to sponsor the podcast. So if you guys are interested in supporting the podcast, helping us out, we greatly appreciate it. All I have to say is keep on racing, man. It's summertime. Here's something that I like to say. I would say this to anybody, but my American friends, my European friends, if you guys have a track that you can race at, you guys are very fortunate. If you have multiple tracks that you can race at, you're even more fortunate. I'm saying that from experience. I grew up in Bermuda. We had one track. We loved it. It's still around to this day. We always wanted to have more than one, but Bermuda's super small. It's super expensive. Land is incredibly expensive. So having another track was not an option. Here in the DR, we had 3 to 4 tracks at one point, but the RC pretty much died. My buddy Frank Lozada, he rejuvenated it a few years ago, back in 2013, and once again, it's died here. I built a pretty nice track not far from me, but that's all overgrown like a jungle. We are actively trying to build a track, but it's summertime here and so many things going on. People aren't really paying attention to RC, but I'll tell you what, I definitely miss my RC track. And I don't know who's trying to call me while I'm doing this. I think it's Joseph, but I'll call him back in a minute. I actively do miss racing RC cars and hanging out and going to the track. And I enjoy it every time I come to America to race, to hang out with people and whatnot. So it's greatly appreciated. Enjoy your tracks. Be thankful that you have multiple tracks to go to. You hang out with people that like to race. And just have fun. Yeah, just have fun. Don't let anybody steal your fun from you. We're in this to have fun and race RC cars at the end of the day. Feel fortunate that you have a track to go to and race with and hang out with like-minded people. Support as many tracks as you can as well. I know it's difficult. There's a lot of places that have multiple tracks and they're fighting for a small amount of people. But this goes back to my other spiel about getting new people into RC. Have fun in RC. Remember why you're doing this. And spread the love, man. Spread the love. And for all the people that are in the winter months, I know you have a short outdoor race season, so enjoy it while you can. So good stuff. Thank you guys for all the support. Hope you enjoy this podcast. We have the Euros coming up next week. Pretty exciting race. We will be doing the giveaway of the skateboard deck with the Euros next week, but I'll do it different this time. I will wait until we actually know who's going to be in the final to pick the top 3. So we'll keep that open. And yeah, like and share this podcast. We got a lot of cool podcasts coming up for you guys. Got a lot of good guests coming up. And we can't do it without you guys. So remember, Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. If you ain't grinding, you're sliding. And hey, if you ain't having fun, it don't make sense. And you hear these birds out here, man. One day I'm going to show you guys these birds. I swear, they know exactly when I'm recording, and they just chirp, 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 chirp. So I do apologize for that. And you guys have a good weekend of racing. Talk to you later.
Thank you for listening to the No Name RC podcast. Please tune in next time for more fresh RC content. And if you can, please also support us on patreon.com/The Quay Grain. We will greatly appreciate it. And don't forget, Nitro is the glory.